said one day, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But if a man doesn't have a job or an income, he has neither life nor liberty and the possibility for the pursuit of happiness. He merely exists." Estimated that we spend $322,000 for each enemy we kill in Vietnam, while we spend in the so-called war on poverty in America only about $53 for each person classified as poor. The promises of the Great Society have been shot down on the battlefield of Vietnam, making the poor, white and Negro, bear the heaviest burdens both at the front and at home. The other thing I want you to understand is this, that it didn't cost the nation one penny to integrate lunch counters. It didn't cost the nation one penny to guarantee the right to vote. But now we are dealing with issues that cannot be solved without the nation spending billions of dollars and undergoing a radical redistribution of economic power. Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of RBN Live. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Rome? And I'll let you pass it around. Go ahead, pass it around.
Oh, no, I can't find my other hat. I don't know what I did with it, but this one matches the jacket, so fuck it.
Sabrina, what's up, Sabrina?
Nothing much. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, y'all.
And JB rounding us out. What's up, sir?
Happy New Year to every single one of you beautiful people. I see my beautiful melanated people all up on the screen. It's good to see all y'all.
Absolutely. And I don't Nick may or may not show up. He's been running some errands, so if he does, great. If he doesn't, solidarity with our brother Nick. Got a lot of topic to cover today. Let me throw the graphic on the screen real quick. So today we're going to be do I get this off here? 1 second, everybody. Let me get this other thing off. So today, a lot of stuff going on, especially on Capitol Hill, with Kevin McCarthy and the election of a new speaker. And then we got some footage of what Matt Gaetz said on the floor and who he nominated. We also have the story of another NFL player having going into cardiac arrest on the field. So we'll be talking about that. And then a couple of stories surrounded with the election of Lula, with the indigenous people down there, and also what Bolsonaro is doing in Orlando. And then the final story we have is there's a new law in Missouri that is targeting the unhoused or homeless population. We'll also be getting to those stories and, whatever surrounding conversations those lead to. But first, let's do our announcements. And I don't know which one of us wants to go first for their story, but whoever wants to go first can prepare as we go through these announcements here. Let's see.
I think I can do mine first.
Okay. It's not just let us know what links you need for us to share. Rome.
I think Nick shared it on Twitter. Under I hate this country so much. He retweeted it. That's why I see
that. Subscriber. This was our subscriber count the last time we did a live, which has been a couple of weeks, because we've added at least 600 subscribers since then. I don't have my phone. That's what I was looking for right before we start. I can't find my phone to give you the final subscriber count unless one of you can get it.
But I'm getting it right now.
Okay, so I know it's over 27,700. I just don't know the exact number. So if you're brand new, subscribe. If you're not, make sure you are, because you will be unsubscribed. Like this stream. Let's get us off on the right foot. We have 100 people watching. Let's make sure we have 100 likes. And do you have that? Did you get that number updated, JB?
Yes, sir. We are at 27,789.
Okay, so let me update it. I think I'm the one that can update it. You said
789.
789. Awesome. All right, so this is the count now. 27,789. The goal is 30,000 or RBN to 30,000. That's the hashtag right there. The other thing is, if you want to join our Substack, if you want to join our Discord, there's two ways. You can be a Patreon subscriber, but the free way, so for those that may not have the funds to support us through Patreon, you can subscribe to our Substack and also get the link that way. You also get notifications when we go live, when we have clips to upload. And shout out to our editor, Aaron, who's doing all the beautiful thumbnails that everybody is commenting on. Some of our clips have some of these classic thumbnails. So if you are able to support, we support our workers directly from the funds we get from all of you. So support our labor, make sure we're able to pay our labor adequately. We have a Venmo, we have a Cash App. You can send donations there. I think that's it, unless anybody see any good comments you want to toss up. I know we can do a comment check and then we can get right into that story. Let's see here. Happy New Year. I think there's a lot of Happy New Year out here. Nice. Almost 30,000 subs.
Yeah, and that's surprising, man. I really do appreciate that, because it's been tough on us, but it's been easier than what they said it was. But as long as we keep pushing the truth and speaking the truth to power, I'm pretty sure the people will come.
Yeah, I agree, Rome. I'm Nick and I talk about this all the time. Like, I'm very surprised that the amount, even though we're being suppressed, and it was likely if we weren't being suppressed, we'd be more at 50,000. But even still, I didn't even think 27,000 was even possible this soon.
Yeah.
JB with the Miami Vice look. All right.
That's Tubbs.
Yes, I used to watch. Actually, I was very small, but I did watch it because my parents watched it. My dad actually. I think we can get into the first topic, unless you see another comment you like. There's one right there.
Yeah, they said that it was performative. It's a performative tactic, but they like, no, y'all reminded us. We actually forgot about that. Thank you. No, we're gonna use that.
Says Mrs. Eric, anti-forced to vote libs said it was only performative tactic, and here the Republicans are doing it successfully, just making them look like clowns.
It's funny. The Republicans proved us right.
They do every time, though. Whether they be right or wrong, they always prove us right.
Yep. And not in a good way. They proved us right. Like, look, if you guys did this, we will actually get more concessions and we can actually do things better. But the Democrats are like, no, we can't do that because it's going to risk us. And then next thing you know, you see the Republicans do it.
Cross the party lines. It's like that's all they do is stick together. They stick together, do some of the most horrible bills that they have been pushing. Even some of the anti-abortion Republicans.
Yeah.
And they still stuck together.
You know what? I got an analogy. The Democrats being anti-forced to vote, it's like them going up to a door that says push and it says pull, and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's like, but the door says pull. No, you got to push it. And then next thing you know, a Republican comes over and pulls the door open and walks through, and you're like, see? And it's just like,
That's a good analogy.
Then they're gonna go right back to pushing the fucking door.
Yeah.
Yeah. JB with your classic analogies, I must say that is one that I'm going to use because that's a great analogy. And then they make it seem like because we're saying the Republicans open the door, somehow we're Republican and conservative because we're just simply telling you what we see. They look what they're doing. They're doing
so you
it.
agree with them. So you want him to be the speaker. Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. Great comment from Eric. Thank you, Eric. Any other good ones before I pass it to Rome for the first story? I think we can do it. So Rome, the floor is yours. Just let us know what you need us to share. Rome is taking the first segment.
I put it up on my Twitter. I just reshared it. If you can pull it up for me.
You said share your Twitter. I'm sorry. Let me. I wasn't even.
I can't do it on this computer. They'd be like.
Yeah. So let me go to your Twitter. It's the very first thing. Okay, I'm almost there.
I think
is my screen being shared right now? Oh, it's not. My bad. Sorry, everybody. Here it goes. All right. So here is.
I think it's right there. Hold on. There it goes. Hey.
This one right here. Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw this too. So here is the story. There you go, sir.
So this is, just another episode, excuse me, of the war on the poor, and another way to see. I'm gonna read this for everybody somebody who's just listening. Starting today, it would be a crime to sleep on the streets. On state-owned land in Missouri. That includes streets, parks, and underneath bridges and overpasses. So you're going to be fined $700 or $15 in jail. And I'm gonna tell you what this does. I know there's a lot of people who saying, "Oh, they get 3 hocks in the cop, they get this and that." You know what else you get that y'all not even thinking about? A jail record. So not only you're homeless, now you have a jail record, and they make it harder on you to get on your feet when you out of here. If you have the resources around you to even do that, rehabilitation centers and stuff that they don't even think about building. So all this right now is just another episode on the war on the poor and what we should be doing. Like on the 16th, we're going to be out in Buffalo, New York. We're going to be out in Washington, D.C., and here in Detroit, Michigan on the same day, on the 16th, on my birthday. We're going to dedicate this whole day to the people who was really going through it. We're going to touch everybody, but we really got to push back on these people and show people that it's okay. We don't care what the laws say. We don't care if there are laws against us feeding them and them having nowhere to stay. We have to push back. We have to come together and lock arms against them. Or it was a couple of protests going around some encampments, and they was armed, and they told the police, like, you will not tear down these people's homes. You will not kick them out the space. But this is what we need overall. We need to show our people solidarity, because where else are they going to go? They're going to become slaves. They're going to become slaves to the prison industrial complex. The revolving door that gets them a record, and then they're going to have nowhere else to go but to the 3 hocks in the cop. And then it become a part of you. It become a part of your life. And sometimes this is all they know. So then they're going to go back. I remember going to jail. One time I went to jail for driving. And then like a year later, I went to jail again. I saw one of my boys that I met in jail. And I realized that was his mindset. And he's still in jail. He go to jail for petty crimes. Like around this time. Around this time, he'd go steal a pack of chicken or go get into it with an employee, make it look like it's something that it's not, so he has somewhere to go. That's the best that we can offer our people. The richest country in the world. That's all y'all can do. Y'all got more empty houses than the homeless people on the streets today, and we can still solve this problem. Quick, fast, in a hurry. But this is the best that y'all can do. But I'm gonna open up the panel.
Yeah, I mean, this is terrible. When I first saw this, I mean, what other thing can they say this is doing? Like, what other reason can they give besides that this is specifically to target? I'll click on this here so we can see another news story. This is specifically to target unhoused people. I just don't see how there could be any other reason.
They're going to pull their weight. They're going to start pulling their weight. Homeless people, but I know a lot of homeless people work, but a lot of homeless people don't. But how the state feeling is, hey, we're gonna get something out of these people. And if we have to lock them up and get slave labor out of them, then so be it.
Yeah, I think when I read the article, the goal, I guess, was to get them into the shelters instead. But here's the problem is that not everybody feels safe staying in a shelter. Some people that are homeless have PTSD and they just don't feel comfortable with other people around them that they don't know. The other problem, too, is that those shelters a lot of times have strict rules. So they have curfews. Some of them don't allow children. Some of them may be women only. And then to go along with that, too, if you are one of the homeless people that does have a job, let's say you work at night, are you going to make it back to the shelter in time for the curfew? This is exactly why some people don't stay in the shelters. And what's really scary about this law is that this could be a precedent for other states. Like, what if other states look at what Missouri did and said, well, maybe we should make homelessness illegal too and criminalize it?
Yeah, and another thing to add on to what Sabby just said is some of these shelters are also ran by religious organizations. Mm-hmm. And so because they're ran by religious organizations, then they force you, if you want to stay in these shelters, you have to go by what they do as their religious traditions. You may have to study the Bible with them. If you're an atheist or if you're a religion other than Christian, then you may not want to do this, but you're forced to sit and study or pray with them and things like that. But what if you're Hindu? What if you're Muslim? What if you're Jehovah's Witness? What if you're any of these other religions that say, look, I just don't want to pray with y'all because we don't pray to the same God, or I'm not religious at all. But now they have to adhere to these religious practices in order to have a place to stay, which really is not free at all. So, it's wild.
And what's crazy too is the same state that just legalized marijuana just criminalized homelessness. So they still get people for the prison industrial complex.
Marijuana is for the rich people. It's always for the rich people because niggas still getting locked up for marijuana in the cities federally. So and like he was saying, dang it. I'm sorry, you can go ahead. I'm sorry. I forgot my whole thing. We
no worries. I'm just gonna toss up another headline right here. Turns out there is a lot of headlines on the story because there's a lot.
That's what I meant. The timing.
Go ahead.
The timing, because a lot of them, we stayed in the shelter before. A lot of them, damn near half of my family stayed in shelters. You got to be there. Like
regulation on public.
We got jobs and stuff like that. We homeless, but we was workers. Mm-hmm. We can't be at the shelter at 5:00. When they about to close the doors, when they getting ready to close the doors, 5:00, 7:00. Oh, you can't have one kid, you can't have two kids. Oh, we'll take your kid and your fiance, but we can't take you.
Right.
Et cetera. It's crazy, but
yeah. Oh, there's another point that I wanted to make as well. There are some shelters that have a rule: if a child is, particularly a boy, is of a certain age, then they have to go with the men's side of the shelter instead of staying with the rest of the families. Yeah. And so and I know this from anecdotally because my mom, when we were little, my mother, they tried to make my oldest brother stay with the men. By the way, my mother was a single mom. So my brother would have to stay around men who we didn't know. And he's a preteen, he's a teenager. And they basically are saying, no, well, you're 13. You have to stay with the men. And it's like, my mother was like, oh, hell no. No. You're not. I'm not letting my son be with all these strange men that I don't know. He's staying with me. Either he stays with me or we're leaving. And what if they said, okay, you can go? What if they kicked her out? Then what are people going to go? Oh, well, you just didn't want to go by the rules. So then then you deserve to be out here on the street. Like, no.
All the abuse that these people face, the rape allegations, the rape kits that haven't been tested, and that's, you know what I'm saying, man, it's a dirty world out there, man. When the government already see you as nothing, a lot of people see you way less than that. You know, they're like, man, they don't even like you. I'm just doing this for a job. Fuck y'all. Yeah. That's how they feel. They're $500 to $1,000 a head that come in there. You would think they'd be able to take care of, you know what I'm saying, certain things and keep up operations, you know what I'm saying, and keep up the kitchen or a roof not leaking, but no. Or maybe a better bed, but no.
I just want to answer this person's question. One check away. Sabby, can a ballot initiative change this law? Yes. And if you live in Missouri and you want to organize for that, you want to start this month. You need to start organizing in January to get something going to see if you can overturn this law.
There's a tweet by Nick that he put in the chat. I can read it really quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you can toss it up, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, you're sharing the screen right now.
Oh, yeah, I get. I'll take it down. My bad.
Sorry.
I'm reading the article. I wasn't even looking at the thing. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's all good. So Nick shared this tweet. He says, in ballot initiatives, Missourians increased the minimum wage, expanded Medicaid, and legalized marijuana these last few years. The bills the ruling class passed was police budget expansions and criminalizing the homelessness. You see the priorities of the ruling class versus everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
this is what happens when you give people direct democracy. If you give ballot initiatives, give people direct democracy. Otherwise, the ruling class is making up all the rules.
Yeah. Thanks to Nick for sharing that in the chat. Shout out to Nick.
I wonder where they would be at, you know, if it wasn't for the people out there in Missouri fighting, if it wasn't for the tenant unions, if it wasn't for our comrades on the ground, because man, it's looking bad. You know, they're getting theirs, and we just getting fucked.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Let me put that article back up, just so for those that may just heard about this, even myself may not know all of it. Let me read just a little bit of it. This one is from Missouri Independent, and it has things on the website like civil rights, criminal justice, energy, environment. So I'm assuming that tells me it's kind of left leaning. And then the headline is new Missouri law makes sleeping on state land a crime for people experiencing homelessness. Also, the headline kind of tells me that the way they're framing it.
Yeah, they call it a crime.
Yeah. Crime, and it's just people experiencing homelessness. Yeah, and it's saying all the right things in the right way. So this subheadline: national organizations are urging HUD's general counsel to weigh in on whether the measure violates federal policy and law. That's another giveaway. Because they're asking it from the perspective of people who need home, not from the perspective of we just got a law and let's just clear them out, and that's it. So let me read a little more just to give us a little more on the story. I'll make it a little bigger for everybody. Missouri Governor Mike Parson signed sweeping legislation Wednesday, making it Class C misdemeanor for people experiencing homelessness to sleep on state-owned land. The law prevents some federal and state funds from being used to construct affordable housing, instead redirecting that money towards constructing temporary camps that can provide substance abuse and mental health treatment.
So prison.
There you go.
Yeah.
It also allows the Missouri Attorney General to sue local governments that don't enforce laws and orders on unauthorized public camping, sleeping, and obstructions of sidewalks, and threatens the loss of all state and federal funding for housing and homelessness if they don't abide by such bans. This is terrible. They're like, we gonna make you. This is very similar to the slave patrols. where the government activated every white male, able white male, and said, you're part of the slave catcher. It's your duty to go out and make sure you're catching slaves. It's like just making people be a part of the state and enforce these sort of oppressive, repressive laws. It's just astonishing.
Yeah, I know that cop feels some sort of way. The shit that I was saying to him, he looked like he wanted to cry. He tried to touch me, like, sir, turn around. So no, he said, stop moving. Say what?
I was gonna say too that if you look up the top 20 states for the highest homeless rate in the U.S., Missouri isn't even in the top 20. So it's interesting that it's happening in this state.
Yeah. One of the things I also want to put into people's minds, especially regarding things like this, is I want you guys to think of all the 13, 14, and 15-year-olds that are out on the street tonight because they were kicked out of their homes for being queer. It's not just adults, it's children. That's also out on the streets. And some of them are alone and by themselves because they live within the Bible Belt. And they have families that because they're trans or because they're non-binary or because they're lesbian, bi, or gay, they get kicked out of their homes and now they have to run the streets. And so because of that, then guess what? Now they will be faced with going into juvie, or if they're over the age of 18, going into prison and being, or going to jail, and then having to pay a $750 fine. How many of you have $750 to drop on a hat?
I know I don't.
Yeah, it's around. It's around 20% under the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a lot of kids. And people talk about, oh, we need to protect our children. I'm sorry, say what? You want to protect children? Let's end homelessness, because that also protects children too.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the thing that a lot of capitalists don't realize. You guys want to end poverty for children? You have to end poverty in total for everybody. You want to end homelessness for children? You have to end homelessness for everybody across the board. You want to end hunger? You have to end hunger for everybody across the board. You see, here's the thing. When does our compassion for people, why does it end as soon as they hit the age of 18? That doesn't make sense. You should have just as much compassion for somebody that's 3 as a compassion as somebody is when they're 30. I don't care. They're human beings. And so this is the problem that we see within this country, because it is profits first. It is egalitarian society. And if you do not produce, then they see you as somebody that's not worth it, when really you have inherent value just because you exist. And so it just gets on my nerves. It gets me really upset because people are being treated like they're nothing.
There's some of that comes from the Black church too, JB.
True.
Because
true.
I think we've had this discussion before that, like, when it comes to like African-American families, we are more likely to kick our kids out at 18, whether they have a job or not. Tell them at 18 you have to go. Whereas for more like the white families, those kids can come back home and live with the parents.
Yeah.
It's a lot of self-hatred in the Black community displayed through corporal punishment. Just look at, literally, what does that resemble? What is a spanking, for example, in a typical Black family resemble? We are so hard on each other. You go to Black salons, maybe some people that don't, little girls getting their hair done and they're in pain, and it's like kind of like just, it's part of the thing. There's so much intertwined with what we do to ourselves, colorism. We still do that. We still talk about color. We talk about colorism in front of white people like it's nothing. It's in music. Oh, she was light skinned as a description. Oh, she was, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so intertwined into our psyche that you can point out so many things that display this sort of self-hatred. You got Black people talking about, what about Black on Black crime when you start talking about the KKK?
It's crazy.
And I'm looking at them like, damn, you sound, why don't you just say I'm a slave? Just have a sign that says slave. You sound like a slave. You don't even understand how you sound like a slave.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, that's
But I wanted to bring up another point that a lot of
Go ahead.
people who haven't been to jail probably won't even think about. But not only do they have to pay that $750 ticket, you actually get charged for every day that you are in jail for the bed, for the food. If you had, if you need medical, procedures and all that shit, they're gonna do it in the jail. Like they try to charge me down there $100 just for pulling a tooth, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're gonna be stuck with a bill once they get out. So
yeah. And Rome, I'm gonna add on to that. When you are incarcerated, your family is also incarcerated.
Oh yeah.
Your family goes in with you. And a lot of people don't realize this because some people, they have loved ones that are still in their life. And if that person goes into prison, when you need to call, they charge you like crazy for that. I'm trying not to curse because we're not allowed to curse on here anymore. If we'll get demonetized. But you're charged up the wazoo, right? And then on top of that, then when it comes to putting, you have to put their money on their books just so that they can have actual healthy food instead of the slop that they give you in these prisons and jails. Because I had family members that we had to, even in jail, we actually had to do that too. We actually had to purchase money, not only food, but also toiletries. We have to pay out of our pockets outside of the prison or the jail just for them to have shampoo, just for them to have soap, deodorant, things like that. So it's not just people going into prison, but it's also extra expenses on your families, on their loved ones as well, that people don't think about, and that they go to jail. So that's also there too. Hey, Nick.
Sorry, baby. I was just gonna say the trauma that is so the story of the trauma of the ones that are left to pick up the pieces from these types of things. But what's up, Nick? Glad you were able to join because I really want to ask you about this law, man. But what's up? How you doing?
Great.
What's popping, people? This is the first time that we met together on 2023.
Oh yeah,
all as the RBN family. So I definitely had to try to. I made sure I wanted to join. I was a little bit late. Personal issues. My battery died. I have to get a new battery, dude. That's the kind of shit that really fucks the working class over, guys. Like I barely make it. That's like $250. It's like fuck.
That's so ridiculous. Think about that. A battery is 200 and something. That is outrageous. Go ahead.
I'll talk about that shit later. But
Nick,
I want to talk about the story because
why is there a target? Like somebody was saying, just said that like the homeless situation. Sabby was saying the homeless situation is not even as bad as it is in some other states. So why is Missouri targeting this?
You see quite a few homeless in Kansas City. Rome was here. We found homeless to feed pretty easily. You go to the city, ask some people. You see
go to the hood.
Homeless people. Rome, remember what we did? We was literally driving around. We just asked some people, "Hey, you seen some homeless people around here?" And it was like people around the block. It's very easy to find here. So it is a thing. Capitalism always hides it. And I want to bring up the point because I'm a harsh critic of Western culture because I think I believe it's failed. It's been a culture built on slavery and based on a prison state mentality. I'm glad he brought up slave patrols. CJ, look at the priority of the ruling class. That's what I said in my tweet. In Missouri, a right-wing red state, and the blue states that do exist are neoliberal, right? Remember, before Cory Bush won in St. Louis, William Lancey Clay and his family had a neoliberal dynasty in St. Louis. Quentin Lucas, Emmanuel Cleaver have a black neoliberal dynasty in Kansas City. So when you're looking out the blue areas that mostly come from urban areas, I'm talking about my hood now, right? That's neoliberal black congressional caucus Democrats. That's why I oppose those people so much because I've seen what they've done to my life. Then when you look at the rural areas and when you look at the large population of farmers in our state, those are people who heavily lean Republican. A lot of the upper bourgeoisie area, like what I was talking about Overland Park all the time, Belton, they lean heavily Republican. That's where Missouri becomes a really strong red state. We are part of the Bible Belt. There's a lot of evangelicals here who vote against their own economic interests because of God. That's a whole other conversation. But despite all of this, in Missouri, you had a Medicaid expansion. I didn't include it in the tweet, but they voted this year for a public housing initiative. Missouri, extremely socially conservative, extremely right wing, but people here have class solidarity once they drop the labels. Because when you vote on the ballot, people see R and D. But when they vote on ballot initiatives, they see housing initiative.
Oh.
Hell yeah! Rednecks be like hell yeah. On marijuana, rednecks be like hell yeah. You know what I mean? You guys see how RBN got the message of how we should ignore the two-party duopoly bullshit, the culture war bullshit, because that is what divides the working class.
Yeah.
And when I'll pass to you, JB. But when you ask the people what they want, they provide for the workers, they provide for the proletariat. But look at what the ruling class has done in Missouri. They destroyed the state. They destroyed it. You know, in a ballot initiative, we passed Medicaid expansion. Then our governor vetoed it. And then the Supreme Court overturned the right-wing veto. So I don't know why, and I'm talking to every single person I know in real life. If you're a Republican, why aren't you in the fucking streets, dude? Like your own government overturned the will of the people. So I'm having fun. I'll have fun talking to conservatives in my area because this is local politics. Like this is how you connect with people on your local area issues. So you have the right wing that went against ballot initiatives, and then the right wing Supreme Court in Missouri actually overturned that. So we got the Medicaid expansion. It's crazy.
Wow.
And that's what people need to understand. This is why I've been focusing so heavily on the ballot initiatives. So we've been going through each state. We haven't made it to the M's yet, Nick, because I'm going in alphabetical order. But
yeah,
about the results for each state, because most of the BI states are red states, and they're passing like progressive policies. These policies haven't passed on the national level.
I'll tell you guys, I used to sell cars, so I used to talk to a lot of people. That's how I was able to help shape my political opinion. I'm just talking to people, and people I know vote red. People are deeply conservative, and they will say stuff like, "Yeah, I think we should increase minimum wage. I think housing should be cheaper." Like I would hear this shit from Missourians all the time. I would hear progressive stuff from Missourians all the time, despite them being red or neoliberal blue. And that's when I knew that it's just propaganda. Just talking to ordinary people, I'm like, man, if it wasn't for the red-blue game, if it wasn't for the culture war, we would have a lot of discipline. The discipline of the American people is sapped by that nonsense. But go ahead, JB.
Well, and just to prove a point, remember the midterm elections that just happened in November. One of the people who was elected was the new representative from my district, Maxwell Alejandro Frost. And Maxwell Frost, even though I despise his opinion on shifting to being a Zionist, yes, I am completely against him on that one because he shifted his from being pro-Palestinian to be a Zionist. But as recent reports show that Maxwell Frost doesn't have a place to stay in Washington because he can't afford it yet. So what does that say about your country if your representative is homeless? Because he says, well, I'm just going to be sleeping on the couch. Dude, you're homeless. Your job is now in Washington, and you can't even get an apartment because you don't have the credit and you don't have the money to get an apartment. So guess what? This is our country, and this is a failed state. And so,
and he's never gonna reflect on that on any legislation he votes. Once he crosses over with them, he's forever gone. He's not going to be able to think back and be like, oh, I was homeless too. So, because you see Cori Bush, like, what has that done? She's writing books. That's terrible.
Do you guys see Jamal Bowman's tweet today where he was like,
Kevin
McCarthy not going to have the votes. Yeah, they're in disarray. And they had a segment. I was preparing for tomorrow or so on MSNBC where they was so upset about Kevin McCarthy not getting the role, and they had this Democrat on, and they was talking about how the Democratic Party caucus is more united than ever. And then this person gave the whole game away. I'm gonna do the segment maybe tomorrow, and it was like, it's actually surprising. We thought that the progressives would do that for against Pelosi, but they didn't. And we're now surprised that we are as united as we are. And I'm like, dude, they're literally laughing at progressives for being pussy right on TV. They're like, man, I can't believe woo, we dodged a bullet.
I just said earlier.
They was literally like, woo, that could have been bad.
That's
they was literally. Go ahead.
We're covering that story, so we're gonna cover that. I guess we'll
I might dig that up because I might dig that up and put that at the end.
So if you got that receipt when we get to it, please bring that up because I haven't seen that. And if you know what show it is, I since I record all the political,
I just have to go through my history. I was doing some Oppo research today, so I got to go through my history, and I think I watched like 3 minutes of Rage Quit. You guys know Rage Quit segments. I just do it for Oppo. I was like, oh shit, this sucks.
Yeah. I did that for No Scarborough, so I have a segment with him talking about this very subject.
I want to make one last point. I want to make one last point, and we can move on because I want this is what I was heading towards. I was mentioning how the Missouri Supreme Court overturned the will of the people, but I want to emphasize on this point. When it went to a vote, Missourians are progressives. The legislation that passed through Congress that the governor later signed increased police budgets, privatization. You guys see the difference? And they're criminalizing homeless. You see the priorities of the ruling class versus the ordinary people? I have one wish for the dear Lord 2023. How about we become more like South America, where our politics is not dumb and we make it all class war? How about that? That's my ask.
Yeah,
that's my last thought on this segment, guys. And I'll pass it to you guys. That's my last. I just want y'all to include that. This is my hometown. This is my backyard, especially this Missouri story. I pay attention to local politics here like a hawk. So,
I wonder what is Casey Tenants? Have they said anything about
Casey
this?
Tenants has been the number one enemy of Quentin Lucas, and they are directly responsible for the public housing initiative passing. So, as we have said on RBN, Casey Tenants like, we don't give a fuck about your politics. Are you for the housing proletariat or not? They had a lot of discipline. I was at the Casey Tenants rally where they were signing some people up. We went around, we were talking to people. We signed up literally hundreds of people to the tenant union on that same day. And people didn't care if you were Republican or Democrat. In fact, once they start organizing ordinary people, they started rejecting the two-party duopoly because people was like, oh yeah, that's just stupid. We might well be organizing. What's the point of that? And then they said we had to go, and I can pull this up because I covered this on the ground. They had a rally to get signatures for the public housing initiative. If it wasn't for Casey Tenants, that shit doesn't pass. Period. Like they got thousands of signatures for that. If you don't organize, nothing changes. But go ahead, Sabby or Rome, if you want.
Do you guys know? Has Cori Bush said anything about the new?
I heard shit. We have been Missourian true left activists abandoned Cori Bush. We're done. We're not like DSA. We're not waiting for her. Casey Tenants not waiting for her at all. Like it's like you either are. If you guys are with us or against us, I love the energy. I was talking to one of their social media coordinators, one of the people that help organize the events as well. We were having a long conversation. Dude, they have a ton of discipline. Like they're not here for publicity. They're just here for the proletariat.
Yeah, because seeing how expensive it is to even house yourself, let alone a family of 3 or more. Seeing laws like this being passed, it should, really push people to go on the streets more. It really should push people and scare people, seeing that they are a paycheck away. They are a breakup away from losing everything. So I think if the proletarian actually catch on and actually knew what laws was being passed, because we are political nerds in some sense. So, but a lot of people just don't give a fuck about politics and don't know what's being passed, whether that's locally or federal. So it's up to us to teach them, like, hey, it's a crime to be homeless now. Like, what? Like, yeah, just start talking to random people about it. Then like, oh shit, and word gets around, But it's gonna suck. But we're gonna have to fight harder to end this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we can cut this segment here, and that's for Aaron, who may be watching. We're gonna do Sabby's segment after this next round of announcements. So let's do those announcements now. Hey, Rome, what's going on? January 16th. We forgot to announce this earlier. January 16th. What do you have going on for that graphic that we got done for you?
January 16th, my birthday. We're gonna be out in Washington, D.C., Buffalo, New York, and Detroit, Michigan. We're gonna be doing 3 states. And one day we're gonna be targeting the homeless, make sure that they have, socks, coats, new hats, gloves. We're going to be passing out a couple of tents in each state. We're going to make sure that we're there for the people. It's going to be something good, man. Something good.
Here's the graphic right here for those that may want to check it out. So there you go. And I didn't know that this was for your birthday, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't celebrate. I don't celebrate any holidays or birthdays and no stuff like that. So I guess this is
this is your gift to the military. Right on. So make sure you support, if you're able to support Rome. Is it Tour for the Poor? People can donate.
Yeah, Tour for
Rome.
the Poor. You can my Cash App, Tour for the Poor. I think PayPal Unholy Rome 6, or I think Tour for the Poor. You can type that in, and same on Venmo, Tour for the Poor. You can just type that in, and we're gonna be out there. I'm gonna be out in 3 cities in one day. I don't know.
That's gonna be.
Bernie Sanders did it, so no, I'm playing. I ain't got no jet and no shit like that. No, I got comrades. We got boots on the ground, y'all. It wasn't that. It's not like I was back in the days.
Yo, that Santa hat is an entire vibe right now.
I was like
starting out the new year strong.
Yeah. So that's one of the activities we got going on. Also, we're gonna be working on chapters. We're gonna be meeting together as a group soon so that we can talk more about developing chapters. That's something I really, really want us to focus on in 2023 because people are ready for us. People are ready. But that means we need help from the community, and we got to be. I'm gonna be more shameless in trying to target and fundraise, and I can do that actually right now. Let's do it. So we have staff. We want to add a couple of more staff. Right now, we have Aaron, who's our paid staff, is our editor, who's doing all the great thumbnails, all the cutting of our clips. But this is how we raise funds to pay our staff adequately. We want to make sure they're getting paid what they want to be paid. So Venmo, Cash App right here. This is our equipment and labor fund this is something ongoing that we're always going to be raising money for this particular fund. We want to get Nick out there with KC Tenants and other work he wants to do. And also you already see Sabby, but to get her better equipment, and maybe pay for somebody that's out there.
I'm gonna go to anti-war rally, hopefully.
Yes, there you go. So if you're able to contribute, please do. If you're not, just retweeting, liking this, all of that helps. So like the stream, we're at 330 people watching. The last time I checked, I don't even think we were at 200. So can we push to 300 likes? Let's see if we can get to 300 likes. And the last thing before I pass it to you, Sabby, for the next story.
CJ, can you one more time? Somebody asked, can you throw my card up one more time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Throw Rome's. Let me see where do I have it again? Oh yeah, I uploaded it right here. So here we go. Let me take that banner. Can somebody take that join mailing list thing off of there? I might be able to find. Yeah, so right here it says jacket and coat giveaway, Detroit, Michigan, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Meet at Little Caesars on 8 Mile and how do you say that word?
That's 8 Mile and Grasher. I knew y'all again.
8 Mile and Grasher. Now because I just know it from the movie. Is 8 Mile a street? Is it like this like PCH out here in LA? You know how we have PCH runs through all of California. How do I get that?
Yeah, 8 Mile is a long street, but it's more like a barrier from black and white people.
Okay. No, I get it. Like the train track. That's like the imaginary train tracks. I get it.
Yeah, it's the red line. As soon as you go across, you don't want to go across 8 Mile. You don't want to fuck around 8 Spot.
Yeah, I hear you. So the train tracks is what we call it here. So also doing Buffalo, New York, Washington, D.C. This is January 16th. This happens to be Rome's birthday. So make sure you support if you're able to do so.
Boy,
And
Rome's too powerful. That boy don't sleep, man. I'm telling you. Like, Rome, go sleep. Take some rest, man.
yeah. And I'll pass to you, Sabby, for the next story.
Okay, are you talking about the sports, the football player?
Oh,
or
yes,
one are you talking
yes, we can. Yes, I think that's the one. The NFL
Okay.
heart attacks. I don't know how to say his name. I don't want to make sure I say his name right. I think it's Damar. That's how you say it. But go ahead, Sabby.
Damar Hamlin. Let me go ahead and pull it up. I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen.
I actually had mom spaghetti. It's not that bad.
Okay, so Damar, so for people who are not aware, I watch a lot of football, so I've seen this. But Damar Hamlin, he's a football player for the Buffalo Bills, and there was a game between the Bills and the Bengals this week, and he was tackled, and after he was tackled, he jumped right back up, and then the next thing you know, he fell out, and so he was rushed to the hospital. So it says NFL star Damar Hamlin is still in critical condition after cardiac arrest. Damar, I think, is only 24 years old. So it says Bill safety, Damar Hamlin, 24, remains in critical condition Tuesday after suffering cardiac arrest mid-game on Monday night. The NFL said the game between the Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals will not resume this week, and that no decision has been made about playing it at a later date. Hamlin collapsed during the game and his heartbeat was restored on the field. The Bills said he was taken to the Cincinnati hospital. So the problem is, and I saw the video from the doctor. There was a doctor that made a video or took the video of him being hit, a tackle. And he said that because of where he was hit in his chest and the speed, and it has to be like the right timing, it can cause this to happen for someone to go into cardiac arrest. Now, I don't know about all that. I've watched a lot of football. I've seen this hit multiple times. I've never seen this happen though, where they go into cardiac arrest. But it's not just Damar Hamlin. There's another football player, and this came forward today. Uche Nwaneri. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Now, again, this happened today, so we're in the same week here. So let me share this one. And so this gentleman, Uche, former Jaguars guard, Garland native Uche Nwaneri, I don't know how to pronounce his name, dies after collapsing at his wife's home. So they said there was no foul play suspected. And it goes on to say here, according to the report, he was at his wife's home in West Lafayette, Indiana, when she found him unresponsible in a bedroom at around 1 a.m. So the report from the coroner's office said that he died of a heart attack pending toxicology results, and autopsy showed no signs of foul play. So the question is like, that's 2 NFL players that have died from cardiac arrest this week. So people are starting to ask questions like, why is this happening? It's not just football players. We've seen this happen to professional soccer players as well the past year. What is happening to these athletes? And there's been different theories that have been going around. And Everybody needs to be paying attention to this.
Excuse me, just 1 second, Savvy. You said both died of heart attack. Damar
Is alive. Damar's in critical condition in the hospital.
Okay, I just want to make sure to clarify.
His family said they're still waiting for him, but Uche died.
Wow.
And these are top, like, these ain't no average man. I know when we think about, people, we just thinking about them like, oh, you thinking they relate to you? Like, no, these people work out down there every day. Nothing is, I mean, they probably do drugs. Who the fuck don't? But come on now. Top shape athlete, 38 years old, heart attack. Maybe in the 1940s or something, but no.
Sorry, he made the hit. He wasn't hit. He made the hit. But 24 years old. 24. And I want to say to people who don't watch football, and CJ, I think CJ's more into sports as well.
I watch all those sports. Go ahead.
Yeah, so CJ, you can tell people the NFL rules are more tame now, way more tame now than they were like 15 years ago.
Yeah, or back when I consider like football to be one of its heydays, like the 80s, the Montana era, I've considered that. Like the rules are way different. Like it's way worse. It was way worse, but it's still not good. Like the bottom line is a lot of these sports, especially football, is one of the top ones, if not the top one. It's the one that's where you're putting black bodies essentially on the line, and black bodies are put on the line. They inject these guys up all the time with stuff to keep their pain off their knees and their ankles all the time. Like get injected with this type of stuff and get taped up where they shouldn't be playing. And you got a Dallas Cowboy player who's a young player. He's literally playing with a broken arm. He has a cast on and he's still playing, making tackles. Like, so it's a ideology stemming from slavery. You know what I mean? It's an ideology of black bodies, sacrificing black bodies for money. And NFL is literally, if you didn't have black men, what would the NFL be without black men? What would the NBA be without? But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But the point that I'm making is that NFL owners and the people in the establishment, and you may heard about Skip Bayless making this point, is they feel like, who cares? You signed up for this and accepted all the white women and all the money that
the fact that Skip Bayless is a thing.
Now, you know what I mean? You can't complain now that somebody now has had a heart attack. Like, it happens now, let's move on. That's basically what Skip Bayless was saying, because the game was postponed.
The fact that Skip Bayless is a thing shows the lack of depth.
Yeah,
and the intellectualism in American culture. How is he a thing? He's not even a varsity athlete, but he get paid millions of dollars to comment on sports. That doesn't make any sense. I am so disconnected from American culture. I don't understand how is he a thing? And he's so annoying. He's this white guy who hates on everybody. But anyway, the point I want to make on the story, and my internet began going in and out. I don't know how long I can make it here. But I want to make let me know if you guys made this point already, because I missed a lot of this segment. But I saw reports of how the NFL was like, I want you guys take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to grieve and then get back on the field. Give you 5 minutes and then get back on the field and make us our fucking money. And then the reason why they didn't play is because the players and the team lock arms together. They're like, nah, fuck you, we're not playing. Now they won. But and I want you guys to break this down. What does that say about the NFL and their leadership and how they view these players, how they dehumanize these players? One of their close friends, literally the opposing team, was shocked by this as well. I mean, this is a devastating event to see. And then the NFL was like, go out and play.
Yeah.
It's a business.
What Skip Bayless said is reflective of what the owners want. And I want people to realize this is capitalism. And it's just like, this is no different than a fellow close employee dies and you guys go, hey, we got to keep things going.
Amazon.
Sorry. But the thing is that this is not like the NFL is some essential industry. It's not. NFL could disappear, and our lives would not change in any way.
And that's
Actually, our lives would be better without these sports because the clowns, the people are entertained by the clowns of the circus that is the NBA, the NFL, and they're not paying attention to what's actually going on. They're like, oh, I'm not into politics, but you will paint your whole fucking body, your team color, and go all out, man. Get your mind right, motherfucker.
I want to comment on this because that was one of the things that radicalized me faster than anything. I'm gonna read a comment and I'm gonna explain. It's no different than your boss telling you to come to work when you're deathly ill. My fucking job when I used to sell cars, my grandpa died, and they're like, all right, that's funny. I'll see you next day. I was like, all right, fuck this system, man. This shit can burn. Like that one of the things was like immediate switch. Like right when my grandpa died, I had to go to work the next day. Like I'm not mentally fucking shattered. That my number one mentor in life, my number one male mentor, I would say, just passed away. They said, go back to selling us our cars. And I'm sure you guys got similar experiences. I'm not alone in that. I'm sure I'm not.
Yeah. Disgusting, yeah.
It's one of the things that was immediately radicalizing.
They better have locked arms because they know it was like, all right, all that Black Lives Matter shit. We got away with a lot of that, but now they really telling us that they don't even give a fuck about the niggas who make them.
Yeah, I don't make them money.
They're like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was fuck the poors.
But the thing is, it's been hundreds of athletes in 2022 that this has happened to.
Mm-hmm.
Like the heart issues. Some people have their suspicions. They think it's jab related. I've got to be careful talking about that on here. But you have to ask, like, what gives? Like, where did this come from all of a sudden?
But the problem is that, like somebody said earlier, I meant to start, but I forgot. But someone said high school athletes die all the time when it comes to doing their sports, especially like basketball, football. You hear about it happening a lot. The thing is that it just doesn't make national news because this is the NFL. So, and the fact that it happened twice in a week is particular. So, but it does happen a lot more often than people realize.
The weird thing, I got to mention this because I'm a martial artist. The weird thing is that in pure combat sports, MMA, Muay Thai, deaths are way rarer than in ball sports. And as I did a lot of rounds, I suffered. I mean, I'm probably got hit in the head too many times. But the thing is, like, once you're done, you're done. And that's different for football. Football is over and over again. First down, bam. Second down, bam. Third down, bam. For the most part, we sparring. You know what I mean? We chilling. We take hit. Then you get hit with a good one. TKO. You done though. You take a few weeks off. You get back in training. That's actually better. That's your body healing. So even though it looked barbaric, MMA and I see this guy. He knows this stuff as well. It's actually way less. The UFC in particular. There are some smaller organizations because they didn't have good regulation. They had deaths, but on the top level, it's extremely rare. The UFC to this day, no one ever died yet. It's a different thing, and it's something that people should consider. I mean, I still feel pretty lucid, and I sparred hundreds of rounds, three amateur fights.
My thing was, I never got football because it was like, why would I want to run into you full might? Why would I want you to run into me with pads on and a fucking helmet on your head? And like, what? Is you fucking stupid? You gonna? I'm supposed to catch a ball? You go, man? This sport is dumb as hell, man. Whatever entertain you motherfuckers. Look at the clowns. Look at the pictures to the circus. You see the bright lights. Look at the flags. Look at our clowns. Okay, yeah, come again.
Hey, Rome, imagine me running to you at full force.
Man, I wish you would. That'd be the day football turned.
It's people who like that. I grew up in a football culture. It's people. It's men. It's in the same way you have men, machismo men. You know, they want to pound their chest. Oh, I did this. I got the most. This I got. It's the same sort of.
Let's box, bro.
It's like just people who want to. I remember this one guy, and we used to do those drills where you just stand in 1-2 lines. You get right to each other and go hut, clap, and you literally just close.
In my day,
like that.
Oh, you guys Oh, boy,
Yeah, we used to do that all the time.
I'm too soft for that.
We was doing that in football. I played football. Like, and the funny thing, I got fucked up way more playing basketball and football than I did ever boxing and doing MMA, right? So we used to do these drills. Like, we literally 15, 16. We in our developmental years. We would go straight up in line, collide at each other, like, oh, hell yeah. I remember whether I would fuck someone up or I'll get fucked up no matter what, I'll get up like, yeah, let's go. I had toxic masculinity back then. I was like, let's go. I used to live my ways back then. You know, I had a lot of issues.
Now we on drugs.
We used to make us do that in our teenage years. And looking back at it, it was kind of fucking crazy. We also go body too. Rome know what that is. You know,
yeah, people. Go ahead.
You do a lot of dumb stuff. Go ahead, Savvy.
I think it's just interesting because now if you play fantasy football, you'll notice this. Like, players are on the injury list all the time now.
All the time.
Like, boom, one hit, injured. I'm like, fuck, gotta substitute that guy. Right. But back in the day, if you watch like the football games, I'm talking like Terry Bradshaw. If you watch like the Chicago, like the 80s Bears, the Super Bowl Shuffle Bears, they were doing like boom, hardcore blows to the head. They weren't getting on like the injured list. And so this is something I was talking to my dad about. I'm like, why is everybody like so easily injured now? I'm talking about small things. I'm not talking about concussions, just little smaller hits, and they're out for the rest of the game. So I have noticed that change too. So I don't know if it's the food, if it's a change with their diet. I don't know what it is. Because
I remember, I forgot. I was watching some documentary, but some football players, most football players don't tell their coaches and their other comrades that they're injured or whatnot. They have to pop their shoulders back in, pop their finger back in, and get back in because it's a lot of money on the line. And
bro, it's very cutthroat. It's like what people have to understand is that this is really people vying to get out of oppression, and that's why the competition is so fierce. This is literally black bodies competing with each other, so to get your family out of oppression. So that's why they're willing to do these things and not care about their bodies now. Like, go ahead.
CJ, go get Nick a CTE, and I'm gonna give you a couple $100,000.
Just to Savvy's point, I'm gonna say this, and I'm maybe I need to do a stream on this. I used to read up on this before I got into politics. Do you guys really believe the Food and Drug Administration in our government that says that cancer popped out literally that hundreds of times more likely in the modern year out of nowhere? That's what they want you to believe. Cancer always existed, but when you look at the 1920s, 1930s, way less prevalent. Obesity, way less prevalent. But they will have you believe that people becoming more depressed, that their brain is broken, that all this stuff is happening randomly instead of we're being fucking poisoned. That's you guys not ready for that fucking conversation. The FDA, if you guys don't trust Big Pharma, if you guys don't trust the military industrial complex, if you guys don't trust Wall Street, why do you trust the capitalist fucks who've been lying to you about dietary? And they lied to you about cigarettes. They lied to you about the food pyramid in the 70s and the 80s.
They lied to you about talcum powder. They lied to you about all types of lotions.
They told us cornflakes was not masturbation.
Not even that, but like, look at what's happening right now with L'Oreal. Like, we've been trying to tell women this for years to stop using chemical relaxers. Now they come forward and admit that chemical hair relaxants can cause uterine cancer. So I know people that have been using this for years. For people who don't know what a relaxer is a chemical straightening process that will straighten African American hair. Got to say that for people.
That's such a great point, Savvy. I'm glad you.
But that's been, but Nick, that's been going on for years. I remember little girls. I remember when I was little, and I asked my mom if I could get one. My mom said no, and I was like, "But everybody got one." Mom was like, "No." See, back then,
mom.
That's right.
Savvy's mom bakes as hell. She's like, hell
no. She said no. But like back then, natural hair wasn't popular. Now it's more popular because people realizing like what some of these products are doing to people.
Yeah,
food want to sell you sugar, and they killed us for it. Once I might do a stream on this. I'm gonna bring some experts on, bring some stuff. But go ahead, JB. I know you want to chime in. Go ahead, JB.
No, yeah. One of the things I think that needs to be also reflected on is that these football players are laborers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember, yes, they may be making millions of dollars, but they're doing it for their labor. They are literally working for their labor. They're not necessarily capitalists. Some become capitalists. Some basketball players become capitalists, but it's not due to just the salaries. You know what I mean? So we have to be reminded of that. And going on the other point, when it comes to the different chemicals and things like that, unfortunately, they it's kind of muddy the waters because they're right about some things, but then they're wrong about others. Mm-hmm. And so this is why we have to be, of course, we have to be very careful. Like, for instance, Sabi, you were talking about L'Oreal. Do some of you people know, especially Black people, do some of y'all know that L'Oreal owns some of the Black products that you guys use on your hair?
That's right.
Because you guys may be like, I want to use this one, especially for Black hair. And it's like, yeah, but that's owned by the same company that's causing uterine cancer. Also, what are some of the products that may be, escalating the onset of prostate cancer in men? You know what I mean? So the thing is that there's no ethical consumption in capitalism. This is why we have to change the system, because it's literally affecting our very health in our lives. I actually talked about our health earlier on my channel, where they're talking about NYU. They're literally putting the billionaires and the rich people at the front of the line in triage.
Yep. But that always been a thing though, JB. It's like, but it was done with insurance. Like, people who had health insurance were more likely to be seen first.
Yeah. But it's just like, if you're part of the board of trustees at a college, or if you're friends or buddies with someone who's one of the hospital administrators, you get put to the front of the line, even if your issues may be less severe than somebody else. So when it comes to workers, like even football players, whether it comes to those of us who may be working at our jobs, sometimes instead of actually getting our health check like we're supposed to, we're discouraged from taking days off. We don't have sick days, so that we can't actually take the day off to actually go see a doctor. All these different things, it really is working to the point where we negate our health in order to make more people rich. And that's the issue that is going on. And that's what Skip Bayless was basically reflecting, the opinion of the owners. No. Don't focus on your health. Make me more money. You're not that important. So that it's just sick. The system is sick.
But Skip Bayless also did this in reference to mental health too, when Dak Prescott came forward and talked about how he experienced some type of depression, like during the pandemic. And Skip Bayless went on this rant about how he should have never said this and admitted this. He's a quarterback. Quarterback players shouldn't talk about mental illness. And I was just like, what the hell is happening here? Skip is not a friend of mine. But do people even realize that football players, when they retire, they only have health insurance for 5 years after they retire. Then after that, they're on their own. That's why you see a lot of them turn around and do NFL commentary.
Oh, Sabby, remember when everybody went up in arms about Gabby Douglas, I think it was, when she talked about her depression? And then everybody's like, oh my God, she's talking about mental health, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, she's talking. You don't think that athletes also don't suffer from mental health issues? Hello? Oh my God, this is just crazy.
Yeah, I think we can call it on that one. Sorry, but I was reading the next segment. So I think we can close it there. Sabby, Rome, and Nick taking a short break. So let's do a quick announcement. And I know Sabby, you just let us know when you're gonna have to take off. But the next one, let's do the Kevin McCarthy, since we still have most of everybody here, and I think Sabby may have 10 minutes or so. So let's get to the Kevin McCarthy, because at least we can get everybody to chime in on this before we're out of here. Let me read these notes here. I need to start reading this chat. Sabby, sorry about this. Sorry. Yeah, start reading this. All right, so let's quickly do a quick like check just to make sure we're at where we need to be for this story. So if this probably is one of the main stories. So if you are here for the main story, make sure you like
Definitely
and
the funnest.
share. Yeah, make sure you like and share. Let's try to get some more people in the chat so we can get some spirited conversation, if not debate. If you're a conservative, if you're a Republican supporter, Jim Jones supporter, whatever you are, don't be afraid to speak up. We got 291 likes, 400 people watching. Let's see if we can push to 75 more people to like the stream. And I think the Kevin McCarthy story is mine. So let me share my screen here. Is this it right here? Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot. So I wanted to bring the latest. So let's bring the latest information. And of course, as predicted, you got a lot of liberals that feel like they're dunking or owning the McCarthy right now.
Yeah.
Like they're owning them right now. So let's read a couple of headlines as I scroll through this. So here's NPR. California GOP rep Kevin McCarthy failed to secure 218 votes necessary to become Speaker of the House in a third round of voting, this time with 20 Republicans voting in opposition. So the latest is they're on the third round of voting right now. Here's Wall Street Journal with the same sort of headline: breaking, McCarthy failed in a third bid to become House Speaker, losing support as 20 Republicans voted against him. And of course, you got people like Richie Neal. Here's another rep who's kind of, I guess, dunking on them. In her 8 years as Speaker, Nancy Pelosi never lost an important vote. Non-Speaker Kevin McCarthy has already lost 3, and people think this is like a good thing. That we're saying that Nancy Pelosi never lost an important vote. Whose fault is that, everybody? Is it not the squad? Like,
So
what?
can I
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like this is an important point to make, and I'm gonna be chiming in a few times during this because there's a lot to say on this. And the corporate media and liberals, they are presenting this as it's the worst thing that ever happened, the breach of norms. Oh my God, there is debate happening on the floor. We are not anointing a leader. You guys know that they used to write these pieces back in 2009, 2010 about Kevin McCarthy. And remember, this when Paul Ryan and a few other Republicans was considered the new up-and-coming leadership. So he's always been part of the club, and he got his seat because he worked for a guy who stepped down. Now, he didn't win this because he was a champion of the people. He got his seat because the former seat holder stepped down, and he was literally in their election, the runoff election, the establishment all fell behind him. He's like, oh, he's the heir apparent. He's pretty much the next in line here. And that's how politics works in this country. We don't live in a democracy, JB. I saw you said this yesterday. I love it. We are in a capitalist dictatorship. So the corporate media and the mainstream media is melting down because the Republican Party is breaking tradition of anointing a leader. Think about what they view as a negative. They view debating leadership as a negative, and they consider themselves pro-democracy. In my view, every single time there is a leadership change, there should have been massive debate. You guys don't flinch at the idea that big party oligarchs unanimously elect the House Speaker who's second in line to the presidency? What kind of sham democracy is this? First time in 100 years that this happened. Go ahead, CJ.
Here is Richie Torres, and if you don't know who Richie, he's one of those so-called progressives who is actually a corporatist, and he's absolutely fucking terrible. But this is what I meant by they feel like they're dunking on them because Nancy Pelosi was able to stifle leftists. They're like, look at you, look like clowns, letting these freaking low-level peasant elected officials run the insane asylum. It's essentially
Oh my God, look at
how
you guys
they're
having
trying to push
debate.
this. Go ahead.
Look at you guys having debate. You guys don't have a hierarchy in our party. You literally have to serve your time, and you got to listen to Nancy Pelosi, Jim Clyburn, and then if they know you leader like a King Jeffrey, you follow you wait your turn. That is the Democratic model. You wait your turn, and they are looking at the Republican Party like this is unbelievable. And this is the kind of headlines that we want as a left, as someone who we would like the right. They are spreading not serious messaging on this. Like I've been paying attention. Like it's one of the people who don't support Kevin McCarthy. He's mad because Kevin McCarthy didn't support him for his election. So it's not like the left where we would challenge Nancy Pelosi on healthcare. So I do want to make that distinction. But them doing this shows how effective this strategy, if you propel it with a working class ask and demand. Imagine if this debate was being framed around the left dethroning Nancy Pelosi, who is way more popular in the corporate news and way more bigger name on the global stage than Kevin McCarthy. Can you imagine the debate that will be going on right now? The squad, the left, refused to vote for Nancy Pelosi because of health care.
Let's get Sabby in before she has to take off. What are your overall thoughts on the whole matter? This is literally what forced a vote is, Sabby, and so this is what people could have expected from the squad and other progressives to show against Nancy Pelosi. But just imagine, Sabby, you're doing this not for what the Freedom Caucus wants. You're doing this to extract a vote on Medicare for all. You see how they will be looked at as the good guys if they just did this particular strategy. But Sabby, let's get your thoughts before you got to take off.
I think the squad should be embarrassed, but they're not. Jamal Bowman is on Twitter bragging about, Kevin McCarthy doesn't have the votes. And I'm like, you realize how stupid you sound right now. This is exactly what you were supposed to do to force the vote against Nancy Pelosi. And what it shows is that those Republican politicians have more guts to do what you failed to do. So this is it's an embarrassment. Like Jamal Bowman should be embarrassed. Rashida Tlaib, AOC, all of them should be embarrassed because it shows just how whack they are that they could not do that against Nancy Pelosi. And the ask was greater. The ask was Medicare for all, which would help everybody. They weren't even willing to do that.
Yeah. Can I bring out a point? One of the things needs to be.
Let's say bye to Sabby. Do we want to say bye to Sabby before she takes off? Yeah. Let's
Sabby,
say bye to Sabby.
Get it go. So I'll be live again tonight on my channel, and then I'm going to talk about this reparation. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but Benedict Cumberbatch
I saw that.
about the reparation. Yeah, so we're going to do.
I'm gonna watch that for sure.
We're going to do a deep discussion about reparations tonight, and then tomorrow, I think tomorrow night, I'm supposed to be on Glenn Greenwald's Rumble show.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his shows are on Wednesday, so it should be.
Yeah,
so that's gonna be good. We all have to be watching, and make sure you're watching Sabby tonight. Make sure you're watching JB. Make sure you're watching you have to watch us as.
I gotta make sure I watch the Rising segment too.
Yes. Oh yeah, and Sabby was on Rising this morning. Murdered. What is it? The rat guy name? What's his name?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, you got a chance to go.
Oh, that's literally how I gotta remember. What's his? Oh, Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg.
So Sabby destroyed him on there.
Yeah.
So make sure you check that out. Go ahead, Nick. You were gonna say something.
Yeah. So thank you, Sabby. I know you got a jet. So thank you for joining
Bye.
us always. And I love the setup because Sabby is killing it on the Hill. She's about to be on Glenn's show. I shoot the shit every once in a while with Jimmy. You know, what I mean, it's a nice little little community we are building here. I'm gonna have Glenn on. I'm gonna try to get Glenn on here soon. He said sometime this week. He's very busy, so we're gonna have him on sometime this week.
Awesome. We gotta talk to him about.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Lula, especially with the Lula shit going on. So he's gonna come on and talk about that because he literally played a giant role in getting Lula free. So I was like, bro, let's do this. So he was down.
Yeah.
I think JB was chiming in on something.
Yeah, go ahead, JB.
Go ahead, JB.
Yeah, one thing that needs to be recognized is that even though these politicians, the Freedom Caucus, actually forced a vote, it's only allowed because they're on the right. Let's call a thing. And so because you can go as further right as you possibly can, you're allowed to do that. But when it comes to going towards the left, there is a barrier that you cannot pass. And so, of course, they can force the vote because the oligarchs, the corporate oppressors, they don't care if you move further to the right because it doesn't threaten their power. But the thing is that you can move further to the left. And so a lot of people don't realize that. So the wall is only on one side. So that's like walking on a fence on your left-hand side or a wall on your left-hand side, but there's a field on the right. So you can run far to the right as you want. You can keep going. But when it comes to going further to the left, you have that wall next to you the entire time, and you can't go past that unless somebody takes a hammer and breaks that thing. But guess what? Everybody that has a hammer that says they have a hammer, they have that little plastic toy hammer they give the babies. And that's all they got. It's like squeaky, 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 squeaky. And that's all they got. And they just make a little bit of noise. But that's it. And so the problem is that people will say, oh, man, the Freedom Caucus, they can force the vote. Yes, because the politicians are allowed to do so. The same people who paid the progressives, guess what? They're not allowed to move further to the left. This is one of the reasons why I'd say we need to dem exit, because they are not allowed to actually fight for the people. They're only allowed to say it, but they're not allowed to do it.
And all the naysayers who's was against forced to vote and whatnot, I never in my life seen somebody mad at another person for holding someone accountable for promising you things.
Yeah.
You know, from taking money and time and energy away from your family and your job, you know, or other things that you can be doing, like helping the fucking homeless or organizing a real organization for the left or for the people on the ground. Mm-hmm. You get mad at us for saying, hey, fuck Nancy Pelosi, she worth $100 million. What the be speaking for? She can lose her job right now and die rich.
Yeah.
What is she doing for us? That we should be fighting to make sure that she keep her job. And like we have said, this isn't just some this speaker. No, we wanted a vote. We wanted all those what was it? 181 co-sponsors.
Can we be real?
Vote.
They were cowards. I'll pass it right back to you, Ron, but they was cowards because look at all the negative media publicity that people like Matt Gaetz and the people opposing Kevin McCarthy is getting. I'm gonna show you guys an example. We're gonna do a propaganda report here soon. I'm gonna show you guys how the mainstream media on Fox News and MSNBC are attacking the people challenging power because they are institutionalists. So the NATO left, the lockdown left. I told you guys it's a complete circle. The same people, those same people are the people who was against forced to vote. You guys know, you guys notice that?
Yes, it is.
That is not a coincidence. You guys think that's really a coincidence? The same people who were against, they smeared us for the General Strike Summit. They was against the March for America for All. They was against forced to vote. They was part of the lockdown left. They now part of the NATO left. You guys think that's a coincidence? They're literally establishment shills, and they was cowards because they didn't want that fight. The fight. I'm looking at the way the establishment is attacking those Republicans right now. I'm shaking my head like, damn, that should be us.
Yeah.
The MLK wasn't on the front line. 70% of white America hated this man.
75%.
75. Thank you, JB.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they hated this man. He was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm on the front line. Meanwhile, the cowards in Congress, Jamal Bowman, I'm gonna show you guys his tweets. He's staying here pretty we have no problems over here. Now we ain't no ruckus over here. We're chilling, nigga. We making money.
We fall in line over here.
And they're celebrating it.
Yeah, we falling high. We shuck and jive over here for the money. What you think is happening over here?
Everything's gonna be all right.
I'm gonna find that damn tweet.
That's his first vote ever. Was for Nancy Pelosi. That was his first vote. Him and Cory Bush, I believe.
Yeah, just rounds. Now listen to Matt Gaetz real quick as Nick bring that other part. He's looking for the other receipt. But this is Matt Gaetz on the floor.
To nominate the most talented, hardest working member of the Republican conference, who just gave a speech with more vision than we have ever heard from the alternative. I'm nominating Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan is humble, perhaps today, humble to a fault. Maybe the right person for the job of Speaker of the House isn't someone who wants it so bad. Maybe the right person for the job of Speaker of the House isn't someone who has sold shares of themselves for more than a decade.
Can you imagine AOC on the floor?
Yep.
Maybe the person for the Speaker of the House shouldn't be somebody who made $100 million while in office.
Yes. CJ.
Why don't we have that?
Wait, Bryce said, was that 2 slaps? Yes, Bryce, that was 2 slaps. Plah, plah.
And yes,
Like,
yes.
why don't we have a
And this
leftist who can do this? Go ahead, Nick, or whoever.
And this is, I want to, because Erica's friend, I see only good comments. This is theater, and that's a good thing, but this is theater for the right, and we know the right stands for nothing. So
You breaking up. You breaking up. The sound is breaking up right there.
check. My internet.
There we go.
is
Now
on
we can hear you. Now we can
So
hear you. Now we
the point I was making, I'll just continue my point. It is theater, but imagine if it was actually serious left working class political theater, because theater is not necessarily a bad thing. All activism is inherently performative, but it's like, at what end is that? Are we raising awareness for healthcare, housing? We should be being performative. We should put theater so we can expose the corruption of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat Party. The problem is the NATO left, the progressive left, they do political theater in order to shield for the Democrat Party. And what Matt Gaetz and the right is, go ahead, CJ, if you want to.
You have to look at theater like this. It'll be like if you go to a Broadway show and you see a Broadway show about imperialism. Does that not make what's in the Broadway show great information about imperialism, and then you take what happened in the theater and you apply it, or you build on it? So theater is just an inspiration. It's just an inspiration. That's it. Go ahead.
And I'll pass to you, Rome, because I know you want to chime in, Rome. Remember what we said, because I said this is over a year ago. This is an old analysis. Remember when when people criticize Forced to Vote, they were like, oh, well, this is a performative. I'm like, all actions are performative. The bus sit-ins is inherently a performative act. It is meant to draw attention. Rosa Parks, what she did is inherently performative. Performative is not inherently bad. That's literally how you raise awareness. That's literally a part of activism, especially when you don't hold political power. It's just the left in this country is so weak and unserious, it does become a laughing, joking point, because their theater is Cory Bush sleeping on the steps when we know they're not leading to anything. You guys see how that's negative theater? But go ahead, Ron. Ron, I know you want to chime in. I want to add.
No, you basically took the words out of my mouth, man. And I always speak about the importance of propaganda, knowing what's propaganda and how to teach people, about it and how to stay away from it. And it's important for us to keep in touch with what these people are saying, what they are doing. Even though they are horrible people, it's still good to use some tricks that your king uses himself against him, because he might not even see it. The elite might not even see it. So it's good to watch them and, just jot down just in your memory what you're going to do against this. What can you do about this to stop this, and point it out to more people that this is just straight up propaganda for people to make them feel better that, oh, my Republicans are actually fighting, or actually this and that. No, they're not.
They're not.
At the end of the day, they all gonna vote bipartisan on bills that's gonna give corporations hundreds of billions of dollars while we are in the middle of a pandemic, So yeah, fuck all of them.
Let me play just a few more seconds of this, and then I'll pass it to you, Nick. I think you say you had a couple of receipts to show.
To get it. Maybe Jim Jordan is the right person for Speaker of the House because he is not beholden to the lobbyists and special interests who have corrupted this.
Can you imagine a squad member saying that about Nancy Pelosi? You know how much more effective that would be to say that about Nancy Pelosi, who's the person getting all this money? And imagine those same exact words. We keep doing this, Nick. You keep mentioning this. The squad is forcing us to say these conservatives are better than them. They're forcing us by not doing anything. Matt Gaetz is doing what AOC should have done with Nancy Pelosi.
The Overton window is actually on the move to the right in America. If we don't see, like, they're not obviously switching powers or switching parties right now, but you're starting to see the right do things that the left should do, the left do things that the right would do, and now everybody is in this little confused thing. And when the smoke clears, you're gonna have AOC talking about, well, she already talked about funding Israel, she funding ICE, but it's gonna get deeper than that. The rhetoric is gonna actually tell you who they actually are, and then we're gonna have people come in. Oh, I'm libertarian, I'm Republican, and I want housing for all, and that's how we started. That's how we started to switch the parties.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Nick, I think that's enough. He just goes on and just embarrasses AOC. Like, he's saying these things about a possible speaker. Can you believe that? Kevin McCarthy's about to be speaker regardless of whatever happens here. He's going to be speaker. He just called him out for being paid off by lobbyists.
And one of the things, and we didn't do propaganda report, we see how much we can stomach it. That is such a good point, because one of the things that the corporate media was saying, it was like, this is going to backfire on them, because if Kevin McCarthy becomes speaker, then Kevin McCarthy going to put them on the shit list and they won't get committee assignments.
Like, that's actually
like that the person from Fox News says, sounding just like TYT and the progressive left. Like, oh, you want committee assignments, don't you? You want to climb the corporate Washington ladder, don't you?
You know what committee assignments mean? It doesn't mean what it means to me and you. Committee assignments means your pay from corporations is going to go up because you're on the committee. That's what they're talking about, committee assignments. Committee assignments is essentially saying, do you want a raise? Do you want more money? That's what this is. Go ahead.
No, CJ, that's such a good point. And remember, guys, these people already got money. So why are they doing it? They're already rich. Why are they doing it? It's psychology, right? So when you're part of the ruling class, it's not about how much money you have anymore because you're already wealthy. It's about your status. So they're competing against each other. So it's one thing to say you're a Congress member versus saying, oh, I'm on the Arms and Service Committee.
Right.
I'm part of the Financial Budget Committee. And that's and then you go into parties, and I'm the head of the Financial Committee. Like, that's literally all they fight for. You got to remember, you got to humanize them and humanize that corruption. That's what it's for them. So they're like, you don't want that committee side. You might lose your status, your place among our club. Anyway, let me show you guys this, and you guys can see this is the theme of this segment. This is one I saw earlier. I'm gonna show you guys two different ones for MSNBC and Fox News. I told you guys we usually don't watch the five because they're hard to stomach, but it's gonna be hard to stomach. But they was in shambles. I was like, it was in shambles, son, over this, and they was making the same argument on the Republican side that the forced to vote, the TYT, the Jake Duger, the Sam Peter, they was making the same argument on the right. It was unbelievable. That's why it is literally the first time in RBN history I'm ever gonna show you a 5 clip. Now I'm gonna show you I did Glenn Greenwald. We was laughing at Jamal Bowman because I want you guys to keep this tweet in mind as we watch this MSNBC segment where they're gonna Joe Scarborough, the number one, least top 3 propagandist. He's gonna be like, oh my god, this is horrible. So showing you guys that Fox News and MSNBC, they're on the same side on this. That shit, their opposition's all theater. But anyway, this is Jamal Bowman.
Just terrible.
Jamal Bowman said, GOP leader doesn't have the votes. We're in a good mood. Like, he's like, nigga, we're gonna be all right. Like, yeah, I'm chilling.
So voting for Hakeem Jeffries is good? Is that what we're doing now? They voted for Hakeem Jeffries, and now they're seeing what the Republicans doing, and they think they won, Nick.
Look at this tweet from Ilhan that everyone should tweet this at every opportunity because this shows that the squad knew the strategy that was even in the DSA handbook. But they were like, fuck it, we don't care now. We're in the club. Ilhan, you can say, yes, we can. With a slim, dim majority in the next Congress, anything can be possible. It will literally take 5 courageous progressive members to get concessions on progressive policies. So remember the video we broke down yesterday where the Smurfs dude was like, oh my God, this is bad at politics.
Yeah.
This is naive. You know that's propaganda because these tweets exist. That's how you know the Smurfs is doing propaganda. Because they know the strategy that works, but they are choosing not to do it. So they're not dumb. I told you guys, I do not play that. I don't pretend that George Bush is dumb. He changed his accent. He didn't have a Southern accent. The same with the progressives. AOC is not dumb. Nancy Pelosi, they're not. They want you to think that. You guys understand? Yeah. They want you to think they're not malicious. But I know you guys want to chime in. Go ahead. Now we do propaganda segment after you guys chime in.
Well, I have a question. Isn't Jim Jordan to the right of McCarthy?
I mean, I would say he is.
It's the same fucking thing.
It's the same. Jim Jordan says it outwardly more, but it's the same.
That's the funny thing about this infighting on the Republican Party. At the end of the day, the only difference that I would actually weigh up is the fact that like Matt Gaetz and some of these people pretend to challenge the Ukraine war, but for the most part, they're like, "Oh my God, I don't like Kevin McCarthy because he don't hate poor people enough. I want government to do less stuff. I want capitalists to own more of our wealth and resources." I'm like, what are they really arguing about? That's why I don't even separate a lot of these Republicans, because even their fake differences, it's just how much you hate the poor for the most part. If you're really gonna get serious about it. But I want to
let's play those videos if you got them. If you got them ready, because
I got them ready.
I wonder is it from the Joe Scarborough? Because I was actually watching it. Okay, I wonder.
We see how much we can get to, because I'm trying. I'm literally kind of winging this. I found one clip. If this is not the one, I'm gonna do a segment on it later, because there's a part where they said, "Oh my God, the squad could have did this and they didn't."
Yeah. So I wanted to talk on that because I have brought that up actually on this episode. I was like, I'm pretty sure Republicans like, oh yeah, we forgot about that. Good looking, because we're gonna need that.
So is this from today's episode? Because I can pull up the full episode. I can pull up the full episode just in case. So
I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna show you guys. I don't know if we're gonna watch the whole one, but I'm gonna show you guys the contrast. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of the Morning Joe, where they melt down about McCarthy losing, and that's very funny because they're institutionalists. And then I'm gonna show you guys the propaganda in that. And then there's another segment that they did where they talk about how the Democrats are united, and they was like, "Holy shit, yes, thank God we tamed the squad." Oh, that progressive flank you guys worry about? Oh, they're fucking pussies. Isn't that great? And then I'm gonna show you guys the Fox News video. I had to look at my history here. And this Fox News video, I'll pull it up in an intermission where it shows the five essentially melting down over Kevin McCarthy. So that's the order I'm going, and I know we are getting late, so I'm trying. We see how long we go in each video. I'm gonna just check the audio one more time, then we play it. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Feel free to interrupt anytime. This is gonna be pretty hard to get to, but I watched this morning, like, because I was trying to see what I do oppo on these people. I was like, what is they saying about this? That's why I make sure to tune in on this one.
Now go to what could be a historic day on Capitol Hill. After weeks of deal-making, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy will find out today if his GOP colleagues will finally give him the Speaker's gavel. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Hake reports.
This morning, House Republicans on the verge of a vote that will either make the GOP...
For the sake of time, I'm going to skip the reporting part there just so we hear mostly the commentary, just for a sake of time.
Can start until someone...
Well, I think most of us know the story. We want to do a propaganda break.
Governor David Drucker, we're going to be diving into a piece he wrote.
Yeah.
But first, the question I have for both of you actually is... given who's voting for Kevin McCarthy and who's opting not to vote, they seem to be aligned on a number of levels, at least on how far right they can go. Why wouldn't they vote him into power so they can continue with their agenda, in some cases, pretty crazy agenda?
Well, I don't know that they're aligned on absolutely everything. There are a lot of people in Washington, D.C. who understand Republicans should have had a massive landslide. We should have had a massive red wave flash across our screens on election night. It just didn't happen. And David Drucker, as Newt Gingrich said, my former speaker, I don't quote Newt too much, but as Newt Gingrich said earlier, this is the worst case scenario for Republicans. They're looking crazy in front of the world right after a midterm election where.
And this is why I want to show you guys. Look at the framing. The dissent in a party is considered crazy, challenging and changing the institution. And they show you this is the last time this happened in 100 years. But before that, it happened all the time. They don't tell you that. It happens all the time before 100. Then after that, they're like, all right, we can't have none of these public infighting. We got to iron the shit down, capitalist dictatorship, no debate. We have a clear hierarchy. And Joe Scarborough and Mika presents the change of that as a negative.
That's their audience. What do we always say, Nick? Who is the audience of Morning Joe? The audience of Morning Joe is listening to them say, call this a mutiny, and they're looking at it, yeah, this is a mutiny. It's a mutiny of capital to them. It's like, just get in line so we all can exploit all these people, and you're causing problems. And that's kind of how the ruling class views this. It's like, look, whoever we put in the speakership, Matt Gaetz, is gonna do the corporate bidding. So, you know, that's how they look at it. Like, you know, who cares? They prefer the formality of just going along with the flow, so it gives the appearance of democracy, gives the appearance of control, gives the appearance. That's what they want to give. They don't care. Like, you challenging power is a problem.
Yeah, you're right, CJ. They are deeply institutionalist. They have only one ideology. That's American exceptionalism, and they believe in the institutions. They don't care about the struggle of the workers. They don't care about the relationship between state power and the proletariat. They just care about upholding the institutions, and keep that in mind as we watch this segment. If anyone will try to feel free, but
go ahead.
I can't see you guys.
Go ahead, JB.
I can't see you guys.
Well, one thing I want to bring up is the dissent or the shock and awe from somebody like George Scarborough about them wanting to challenge the vote of Kevin McCarthy really truly reflects their sentiment about voting in this country. Because if you go against the grain, so to speak, then it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. You shouldn't be able to do this. And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, it's called a democracy for a reason. But they only want democracy if it benefits them. And so even still, they go, oh man, they're not going to vote for McCarthy. They're going to want to go against McCarthy. Oh, we can't have that. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, some people aren't going to agree. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with some dissension? I mean, wasn't it Thomas Jefferson who said dissension is one of the greatest parts of patriotism? So now they're crying and moaning about them voting against Kevin McCarthy. That's asinine.
And that show that the American elite ruling class are deeply anti-democratic. And I'm gonna play a little bit more of this, and we'll show you the 5 clip so you guys can see the contrast and how the 5 goes along with this talking point. Because Joe Scarborough and MSNBC presents this as embarrassing for Republicans. So when I saw the 5, I thought the 5 at least kind of put back on that idea, but no, they go along with this like, oh my God, this is embarrassing for Republicans. You guys see how these two quote unquote opposition cable corporate news perform a role like I said, I use the pro wrestling analogy all the time. Like they literally playing a game. But anyway, let me continue the clip, and you guys see what I mean as we continue throughout the segment.
They were rejected by most swing voters for being too radical.
Look, I think, the issue with Republicans, to begin with, Joe, and Joe and Mika, you remember this, is they've had massive majorities in the recent past, and they haven't been able to govern even when they have very large majorities. They've had a hard time coming together on reform legislation, government funding legislation, such that instead of moving the ball forward incrementally to the right in a conservative direction, they've ended up letting things, fall backward to the left from their perspective. when they were dealing with the Democratic White House and Democratic Senate. Now I have that scenario all over again, but they don't even have the large majorities that they had when President Obama was in the White House. And so I think this is not surprising for any of us that have covered House Republicans in this era. I think the issue for them is how important it is to get to work on the things they can do and get this speaker vote out of the way versus the insistence by a minority of the conference to claim Kevin McCarthy as a casualty of the power that they have. But I think that regardless of whether Kevin McCarthy gets the votes on the first ballot, the 10th ballot, or it ends up being somebody else, this is a preview of what is to come no matter who is speaker. There are things they are going to have to do to govern. There are things they don't have to do, but they would like to do. But it's only going to happen.
All right, skipping the rest of these guys.
Yeah, let me chime in here because what we're seeing is a bipartisanship, because you're about to show us the file. We're seeing a bipartisanship of institutionalists, because these segments are almost indistinguishable, like what you're about to play on. It's like, why is Mika and Joe Scarborough who's on the left, supposedly the left channel? Why are you so invested in the Republicans doing this process a particular way and doing it in a particular way where it comes out and shows some sort of unity? You see how they're all in the theater of unity, not actual like coming together. They're all about the theater of unity. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're on point. To your point, you're gonna see them say this. Especially in the Fox News segment as well. They talk about how this harms the institution. And I went here for Jen Psaki. I'll play the Jen Psaki part, and then we move on to the next part here. Because they talk about how, I know this is Republicans, they're crazy, but this just make our institution look bad. That's the theme of this. They don't have no ideology other than to maintain American exceptionalism and institutions. So anyone else want to chime in? Then I'll move on to the Jen Psaki part. Then I'll show you guys the next part of this. How we doing on time?
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
It sounds kind of familiar. This is what Donald Trump has done to everybody that ever worked for him. They get on board, they compromise, they keep compromising, and then they look up. They've totally debased themselves, and then he throws them under the bus. Same thing that's just happened to McCarthy.
That's right. Look, I'm going to throw out a wild.
You see how Joe Scarborough is he is seething. Now Kevin McCarthy is a victim of Trumpism, because his argument he was making throughout the parts I was skipping was that Trump enabled the right to start questioning the institutions, to start challenging power. So he led to people like Matt Gaetz and Boebert challenging Kevin McCarthy. He's like, oh my God, Kevin McCarthy is a victim of Trumpism. But anyway, let's listen.
And how much? Because how much when they say Trumpism, how much of Trumpism is this, and how much? Because they try to make it seem like Trumpism is QAnon, but what if Trumpism is just this? When they talk about Trumpism,
that's the only thing they care about.
That's all they care about is you just doing this. They don't care about the other stuff that Trump does.
To that point, Joe Scarborough speaks highly of the Newt Gingrich, Ronald Reagan era all the time. So there's no change, and this is why I always bring up to people all the time, like the new anti-woke stuff. That's just the same thing as their fight against the social justice warriors. It's the same thing against the fight against the hippies. They just rebrand. It's the same social conservatism. But Joe Scarborough is okay with that. He don't care about that. What he's really upset about is the idea of Trump. What you said, CJ, Trumpism challenging the institutions. But let's hear from Psaki here, and I'll get you guys back in. I'll go to the introduction.
Throws them under the bus. Same thing that's just happened to McCarthy.
That's right. Look, I'm going to throw out a wild theory here. It may be that the right wing of the Republican Party likes chaos. They want chaos. I mean, even beyond today and tomorrow, if Kevin McCarthy can pull this off somehow, we'll see. The fact that he agreed to this concession of the snap vote means that at any time, by just a handful of members, they can vote for no confidence and oust him as speaker, which means they go back to this again.
You have to realize Jen Psaki saying democracy is chaos. You have to realize that's what she's saying. She's oh my God, the Republicans love chaos. They doing this thing called democracy. You guys hear what she said? You guys want to hear it again? It's insane. She's complaining about the fact that Republicans want more voting procedures. So now leadership. Unreal. I'll play a little. I want just for a second time. Play a little bit more of it. Like, this is her complaining about democracy and calling it chaos.
The snap vote means that at any time, by just a handful of members, they can vote for no confidence and oust him as speaker, which means they go back to this again. And nothing can happen in the House. This is how it works. They can't move forward with committee business. They can't move forward with votes, their agenda, whatever that may be.
Thank you for proving us right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because, you know, sometimes we need to hear it from the horse's mouth. Sometimes we need for their people to say it. Because they just go off and say whatever the fuck they want. They just go on Twitter and just make up all, no, you can't do this because that's that. No, let's uphold some shit. Because if we can't get Medicare for all during the pandemic, recession, depression, you know, all that bullshit we was going through, and they just passed the CARES Act, transferring the most wealth ever to the top 1% in the 21st century. If we couldn't even get covered during the pandemic, then fuck it. Let's hold up some bills. Because if we think about holding up bills, what bills are being held up? A bill was being held up that was going to transfer more wealth. You know what I'm saying? The Build Back Better bill. All that shit, we could have held all that shit up. We ain't getting nothing out of that. Why not?
Great points. JB, did you want to chime in before we go back to Nick? Nick, you're muted. You're muted, Nick.
No, you can go back to Nick.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the Fox clip now because I think you guys get the gist. And they play along with Morning Joe's talking points. And look at how much they are in shambles. The title of the video gives it away how much they are in shambles over this event. Republicans look like idiots for this. So that's the only reason. I told you I usually don't watch the 5. I saw that title and they clickbaited me. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect them to be this shaken up over this, to be honest. But let's listen to what they says.
Right. So today at noon, they are officially going to start the 117th U.S. Congress. And Kevin McCarthy, it has been presumed will be the next speaker. But, you know, and in fact, he's already moved in. He's moved into the speaker's office, and he's been working the phones, negotiating with holdouts. There are, some are saying between 14, 15, or 16 different Republicans who are saying absolutely not to Kevin McCarthy. He can only afford to lose for Republicans. So right now, it looks like he will not get it on the first ballot.
Yeah, there are 222 Republicans that will be sworn in today. The gavel will be removed from Nancy Pelosi. Republicans, they have said over and over, they're so eager to start these investigations, to look into the DOJ and the FBI, their abuse of power, allegedly. They're anxious to look at Hunter Biden and his influence with his dad, exactly the origins of COVID. But first, they have to elect a speaker, and they don't have the votes. If he doesn't get the number of votes he needs the first time,
218,
then there will be a second vote, which will be the first time that's ever happened in the last 100 years.
So the question is, what did Kevin McCarthy do, and what did he pledge not to do or to do that's ticked them off? They talk about swamp leadership. If you want a leader that actually produced over the last 4 years, no one has turned over more seats, or was the biggest surprise in 2020 than Kevin McCarthy. And then he has a slight margin this time. He can only lose 5 votes.
This is the part where Kilmay turns literally into the liberal that argues for Nancy Pelosi. I love this little meltdown that this guy has during the whole segment. Listen to this.
And 4 votes, and he's already lost 5. So he sat down with Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, and Scott Perry. None of them left the meeting converted. But interesting, Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska said Monday that a band of moderate Democrats would work with Republicans, would work with Democrats to elect McCarthy. They are frustrated, as are a lot of people. Think about this. You're not saying 50-50 who's going to get the 51st vote. That's controversial. Right. You're talking about he's 85% there. Almost everyone's there.
And more votes than anyone else. And who else do they have?
Right. Why won't they? If they said, hey, listen, he won't do anything on the border. He's not doing anything with Hunter Biden. He's not going to do anything to go really in spending. None of this is true. So it's almost as if they're debating things that are their egos, nothing to do with America. I'm not even talking about Republicans. Republicans are Democrats. They can't grab onto anything except for, I guess they want to get a little bit more notoriety in their lives.
Well, ultimately, and Brian, you mentioned Don Bacon. What Don Bacon, who is a Republican from the unicameral state of Nebraska, what he has suggested is that in the past, he said we're not going to be held hostage. However, right now, they are being held hostage. He said yesterday, if McCarthy bows out, he may run a candidate against Scalise if Scalise is on the second ballot. He says that the guy he's got in mind, the person he's got in mind.
I actually want to hear from Killmate again, and then we can I'll open up to you. I actually want to hear from him. This guy is boring as fuck. So let's hear from Killmate, because his meltdown during this whole segment is golden.
How are you supposed to do your job and not
listen to him? Now, here's the thing.
But to me, that is the craziest thing to give into. How are you supposed to do your job and not? You have 200 people you're going to be representing. If 5 don't like what you do, that you're out. And so conservatives who back McCarthy said, wait a second, why did you agree to that?
Right.
Because if you agree to that, then how effective are you going to be as speaker? You can't kiss everyone's butt in order to do that job. You got to do what's better for the whole, or dare I say, better for the country.
He probably says, I'll do anything to become speaker. And then once I'm speaker, I'm going to do such a phenomenal job that they'll all agree with me.
Eyes.
But here's the thing, Brian, that rule used to be on the House. It was Nancy Pelosi who said, no, we're going to get rid of that. So anyway, the New York Post has got an editorial.
Think about this, though, Nick, and Rome and JB. What is making you so mad that it took a few extra minutes to get a speaker? Like, think about what they're complaining about. They did this on Joe Scarborough too. Like, what is so, like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody gets shot and the police unarmed, they act like they can't find a problem. But with this, like, what about this?
That's a good point, CJ. Because you know, there's no urgency to end poverty, no urgency to help the people, but there's urgency to uphold the institutions. And when it comes to upholding the institutions, that's when the facade falls apart. That's when you see MSNBC and Fox News arguing the same thing, but doing it in a different flavor. You guys see the theater? But Rome, I'll get your last thoughts, and I had the other video, but I know we're getting a little late. But go ahead, Rome. Anything you want to add?
You took the words right on my mouth again, man. Because these people, they are mad because overall they know they benefit off of that speaker. You know, they benefit off of him being a speaker, whether they are Democrat or Republican. They all get money in these corporations. They bosses, benefit from the legislation that, whatever the fuck Kevin McCarthy would have signed into law, whatever the fuck it is. So they're mad because it's going to uphold their money, their boss's money. It's going to slow down their capital, and it's giving us ideas. Like, not only is it showing us that they can't even stand themselves, but it's showing us that these strategies do work, and we can, we could put a hold on power.
Now I'm gonna show this video is shorter, and then this is the last part, and then I'll wrap up and I'll pass it back to you, CJ. Because I'm gonna go back to more joke. Because now this is the segment where they brag essentially that, this chaos, this democracy going on in the Republican Party. Democrats, we're not having that. We're not having any questioning of power here. Fuck that. Our members know their place. So I know I went long, but I had to share this part to wrap it up. So this is my last
having that democracy. This messy democracy.
So this is a shorter part of video. Feel free to interrupt anytime, guys. Here we go.
Republicans struggle to choose their House leadership. Democrats have theirs in place. Joining us now, incoming House Minority Whip, Democratic Congresswoman Catherine Clark of Massachusetts. It's good to have you on the show. I guess my question to you would be dealing with the party in power, which appears to be a chaotic party. What do you hope? What do you think is possible in terms of getting something accomplished?
Yeah, we certainly are seeing chaos today in Congress.
I'll be real quick because I want the video to play, but I have to debunk this because the mainstream media keep doing this. They keep pretending and promoting this myth that bipartisanship is rare. It is not rare. And look how happy they are and how much they want to work with Republicans, because they do. Ukraine funding is bipartisan. Taiwan funding is bipartisan. Overthrowing Venezuela is bipartisan. Sucking up to Saudi Arabia and funding the apartheid state of Israel, bombing Somalia, these things are bipartisan. The class war against the homeless that Eric Adams and that the Republicans in the South is doing, that's bipartisan. Why do Americans pretend that Democrats and Republicans have a hard time working together? Just have to add that, and then let's continue the video.
No, I want to point out one more thing.
Go ahead.
Because the propaganda, man, it's just so much. It's just so much at one time, and getting to know it. They are really trying to push this chaos word in your head. Like they are really trying to push this in your head. Don't fall for it, because this shit it ain't chaos at all. Actually, you want to see chaos? I look up videos of other countries. Their leaders fight each other.
That's what democracy's supposed to be. Like they would call what the forefathers did or the founding colonials did as chaos then, if by your definition, because what they're saying is you have to fall in line and do what was already been established by the ruling class for it not to be considered a chaos. But JB does have to leave, so maybe we should let JB say his closing before we go with the video, because I do want to see this video. But let's let JB kind of give his closing remarks and also shout out what he's doing next before he takes off here.
Yeah, so I'll be heading out, but be sure to tune in to the Sabby and JB show this Thursday, as well as my show, the JB show. And then next week we had to postpone because he had an emergency, but I'm going to have Awkward on my channel on Tuesday. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about his journey to where he's at, policing, many different things. So we're going to be talking about those things. I'm excited to have him on next week. So, and then also the Sada Shakur autobiography I will be reading again later this week, as well as finishing up the last chapter of 32s by Michael Parenti. I'll be doing that as well. And I'm thinking about getting Capital by Marx and reading that on my channel. But yeah, but we'll see. I'm just trying to, expand my mind.
You have to subscribe to all our networks to get the full RBN experience. And JB has a very substantive, theory-based channel, and it's fantastic to see JB grow last year. So thank you for joining the JB, and make sure you guys tune in for his next program as well. Now I want to make a point, because this is why I always have chime in. That's why it's important for us to know the language of our enemy. Rome talked about this as well. We gotta know how our enemy moves. And you see how they present that bipartisanship is rare because they want to plant this illusion of democracy. What do we say? We say we live in a capitalist dictatorship. There's no debate. There's no democracy. Look how they're melting down. Why you guys think I'm doing this segment right now? We got to learn how our enemy moves. And as Marxists, I debunk the bullshit that you guys live in this freedom, democracy, loving country. That's the theme of all my shows. And we have to frame it as a capitalist dictatorship. So when they say stuff like, "Oh my God, we have a hard time playing with bipartisanship," bullshit. Where's the bipartisan? Where are the arguments about police funding? Where the argument? Joe Biden gave COVID relief money to the police, and the Republicans are still trying to pretend that he's weak on that. Joe Biden literally reversing China trade policies, doing worse than Donald Trump doing, but they pretend they got a disagreement on China. As Marxists, as socialists, as anti-capitalists, no matter where you fall on the left over to window, your priority should be debunking mainstream media talking points, not uplifting it. Jamal Bowman, the squad. We got to crucially dismantle it with no mercy. You guys, that's the difference. Last thing you guys want to chime in, and it's not a long segment, so
yeah, no, you can play that. I think you already had it.
Yeah, I have it. I just want to give JB a nice.
Yeah, give him a nice little.
This is the one right here. There you go. So you say this is only a 4-minute segment. Just go back a few seconds. Let's play it.
We are seeing chaos today in Congress, and this is an extension of the extremism that we have seen from the GOP.
Extremism.
Taylor Greene as your spokesperson, you know you're in for a rocky ride.
Marty Taylor Greene supports Kevin McCarthy, by the way. Just point it out. The dumb.
And the Democrats are united. We are here to keep putting people over politics, to continue the work from the last session of finding solutions for people. But we are watching this unfold with you and the American people, and we don't know how this is going to end. But I do know that Kevin McCarthy has thrown away his moral compass. He will do anything to get that gavel in his hands. And when you're willing to do that, you are no longer a leader. And it is exactly why he finds himself in this situation.
If you ever listen to either your left or right or populist flank, whatever you want to call it in your party, that's when they that's when they call you incompetent. They're like, no, you're supposed to crack down on dissent. You don't listen to people. You impose the capitalist party agenda. That's what they're saying. That's the norm they are advocating on MSNBC.
Congresswoman Clark, it's Jen Psaki. Hi, how are you? I wanted to ask you, there's been so much focus on Kevin McCarthy. Will he, won't he, the chaos. I want to hear about your leadership style and how you and the Democrats plan to approach being in the minority over the next 2 years.
Well, I can tell you that we are excited. We have fantastic new members who are coming in. Our first Gen C, the most women ever elected to Congress, historically diverse members of the Democratic caucus. And we want to continue the work that we have done, lowering costs, creating great.
The dude Hakeem Jeffries that the squad all fell in line to vote for. They look like clowns now. This guy is the biggest Zionist, anti-progressive, and instead of the headlines being the squad calling out this guy who has been a thorn on their side, on the side of Bernie Sanders and the progressives,
against him.
He literally your direct opposition. Hakeem Jeffries, now that he's speaker, he about to spend all his resources on defeating progressive primary challengers. A strategy that we don't even agree on. That's why how you know they are serious.
I'm saying. Is a professional managerial class, Rome and Nick, are they saying it's better to vote for Hakeem Jeffries than it is to force the vote on Nancy? Is that what they're trying to tell us, Nick, in Rome? They're trying to act like, because what they're saying, because what Jamal Bowman is, taking pictures and selfies, trying to act like he dropped the mic on these people.
Yeah.
You voted for Hakeem Jeffries, who's more hostile to progressives than Nancy Pelosi.
It's the death of their strategy. The strategy, like, once again, we can do it either way, CJ. We say the strategy is fucking dumb. We need to work outside the Democratic Party.
Another way.
But even if you agree in that strategy, how does supporting Hakeem Jeffries help when he been the number one thorn and propping up establishment candidates against progressives? And now as leader, he's definitely going to reallocate funds and screw progressives in the electoral system worse. So if your strategy is to take over the Democratic Party, this doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, this is them closing the door on that strategy. This is making sure that the door stays shut. The nail is in the coffin because a lot of motherfuckers. Oh, I'm gonna come back and throw the ladder down for y'all. I'm gonna come back for y'all. This is basically what the squad has done. But if we look at what they have voted for, they funded ICE, they funded Israel, Ukraine, et cetera, they already set what they are in stone. There is nothing that they can do to even redeem themselves to even be called a leftist or a socialist in our eyes anyway. So fuck it. I might as well go all out. We're going to solidify our career. I'm going to work for 5 years plus and get benefits for life and motherfuck the rest of y'all. Because, yeah.
Look at the headline of this. And we get to the video because the video is very short. So I want to look at this headline. And this is a concept that we explained on Nick and CJ not too long ago. House Democrats pick top leadership that includes 0 white men. A first for Congress. Oh, how
what the fuck that got to do with anything? All you motherfuckers is evil.
Oh, how progressive of you Democrats. This is why, and CJ, I told you guys, they play their role. This is why they play their part in helping legitimize the right wing when they say, "Oh my God, this is woke politics."
Eric Adams is the worst. Eric Adams is worse. Hakeem Jeffries is more corporate than Nancy Pelosi. Jim Kleinberg, worse. You see, Obama is worse at squashing pro. You see how you get coons in these positions to do a worse job to the proletariat than the white counterpart.
He's a hardcore Zionist, hardcore corporate Wall Street stooge, right? But he is in leadership. Eric Adams, Hakeem Jeffries, they're new straight. They figured the game out. They like all we have to do is trick dumb progressives like the Smurfs and David Dole and humanists. All we have to do is put black people in power that will do the same thing as white capitalists. But people will fall for it. Like they learn from Jim Clyburn. They're like, holy shit, Jim Clyburn is a piece of shit that literally funded the most by Big Pharma. And then South Carolina had the worst health outcomes. But then the black community and NAACP gave that guy a fucking award, despite all his horrible record. They're like, holy shit, we can trick these dumb capitalists and these dumb black liberals by putting black people in high places and then having them screw you. And Morning Joe loved it. That's why they picked this article out not to criticize it, but they're like, look, oh my God, it's working. We're putting black people in high position of power, and then the black proletariat and the proletariat in general is voting against their interests and now propping these people up. We got Jamal Bowman, Ilhan Omar voting for this scumbag, voting for black congressional oligarch members. You have the progressive left that refused to vote endorse Nina Turner over Chantel Brown. Remember that? Just the Democrats didn't vote. They're like, oh, well, if they're black and they on the Democrat Party side, we're gonna pretend they're on our side. This is the most toxic weaponization of identity politics, and this is why that concept is treated like a joke. These people like Hakeem Jeffries is meant to emasculate and depower black people in the working class. Anything you guys want to add in?
Talk about bowing down to your master. Can you imagine if y'all motherfuckers was secretly putting millions of dollars against me and I just joined RBN like, oh, it's all cool, it's okay. Man, you put millions of dollars, you have people on TV calling me all types of names and shit, and you just go ahead and vote for them with nothing, just to make sure that you have a speaker. Like there is none of these people.
Like they're voting for these things and they don't have to. Like he could have won the speakership without them voting. Yes. They could have gotten broke the strike without their vote. This is what I mean. Like it's the difference now. Now they're not even pretending. It's now we voting for Ukraine. Now I'm pro NATO and I'm pro Iron Dome is defensive. Now they're not even pretending. It's just it's astonishing to me. But go ahead with the video, Nick.
I skipped her answer because a lot of bullshit there. But I'm gonna read the last part. I'm gonna let the other guy get in. And we can wrap the section up.
You would never get a
Clark, good morning. Jonathan Lemire. We just have been detailing most of the morning the chaos on the Republican side, but I know there needs to be some agreements where you guys can find common ground, some efforts to reach bipartisan solutions, particularly on things like funding the government and the debt ceiling, two looming fights later this year. What will be your approach to work across the aisle, even amid the chaos, to get those necessities done?
How do people not catch these contradictions? How do people not catch these contradictions all the time? Where MSNBC, they literally did hours. He acknowledged it because he kind of caught how it's kind of bullshit. We're like, oh my God, the Republicans are crazy. The Republicans got extreme ideology. The Republicans are the greatest threat to democracy. The Republicans are the greatest threat to freedom. And then they talk to a Democrat. They turn around like, hey, Democrat, what are your plan to work with those crazy people? You guys notice how they always do that?
Yeah.
Why do you want them to work with the crazy people? Or doesn't that give away to the fact that they don't really believe it? Do they know they're on the same side?
Like they playing with these words, man. They call these people fascists. They call these people all kind of shit, and then they go and pass a bill together to bomb brown kids. That's fucking crazy.
They got this new leadership where they got a black person, they got a Latin person, and they got a woman, all being the face of the new imperialist, the new face of imperialism and neoliberalism. And we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be happy that now it's a black person who's at the leadership of the Democratic Party who's now going to be making $100 billion while he's in. Like as if that makes it better. But this is the reason why it's so important for RBN to call this out. Because literally on the left, who's going to be calling this out, what they're doing about Kevin McCarthy and calling democracy chaos in this sort of psyop that they're trying to do? Because they're not even, it's not, you notice how propaganda, they make a statement that they make it in a way that they're saying this is not debatable. This is chaos. Nobody's saying is this chaos? It's look at the chaos that's happening over here, that everybody can see the chaos that's happening. And Rome just pointed this out, how they keep saying the chaos, chaos is democracy. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, CJ, that's such a good point, because that shows that they got memo. That's the buzzword. We got to repeat chaos, chaos, right? And I told you guys, I do my oppo on these so I know how the capitalists move. And that's why I'm so appalled at the TYT NATO left, because I probably wait for it. Just wait for it, guys. Just wait for it. It's coming. There's going to be a live stream, but I don't know who yet. It's going to be the Sam Cedar. It's going to be Vosh. It's going to be Jane, Anna. Someone's going to be on this live stream, and then they're going to repeat. They're going to be like, oh, my God, the Republican chaos. Just wait for it. It never fails. Because I told you, I'll watch MSNBC, and then I'll see clips from TYT, and I'll be like, they saying the same thing.
They all got the same shit.
So, once again, that's just a prediction. So I may be wrong, but that's what I'm telling you guys. Keep an eye out. I promise you. They're going to say the same thing they're saying here.
And like I'm saying, like they really don't. They really want to drill this in the people's heads. So even the regular voter would be like, okay, well, they obviously got something out of it. Like I'm pretty sure if Democrats did that, they don't want y'all getting no ideas about any type of democracy, any type of people debating. You know what I'm saying? On whatever. No, you don't think freely. You do what you're told. These corporations told us to vote for this guy. This corporation gave us money for this vote. So do what you are told. And they just don't like to see any type of democracy. No matter who is it done by.
Right.
Whether you like Republicans or hate them, they still are practicing some type of democracy that you haven't even touched in yet. And even I'd even say January 6th was a part of democracy, because some of your founding fathers said, hey, if y'all want to throw this shit over,
There's nothing wrong with protesting. Hey guys, so shit libs, this is where we scare you off, because I piss people off on Twitter on purpose. I'm like, dude, I don't got any problem with that. That's a legit property damage. Dissent is a legitimate form of protest. Deal with it, you suckers. That's what the real First Amendment is about. That's really what it means to be a free speech absolutist. People like Ron DeSantis, you neoliberal slimy fucks who actually agree with each other, but you don't know, who want to ban protest and dissent. You guys are anti-free speech. Protest and property damage has always been a legitimate form of protest. Stay mad. Stay mad.
Why the hell did they think that they got this country? What the hell? They just came and
white people did it all the time, and then anyone else does it, and then they're like, "Oh my God, you guys going too far! You guys built your wealth and built all your societies on violence, death, and property damage. Then when anyone else does it, you guys lose your mind. Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! That RBN not playing that shit. But anyway, let me continue this. We just having fun now. I know it's getting late.
I think you can look at the work we did in the 117th Congress as our roadmap. We were able to get bipartisan support for infrastructure, for gun reform, the first gun reform we've been able to do in 30 years, the CHIPS and Science bill that is bringing manufacturing back to our shores. We are going to continue to be there because our priorities are finding solutions that work, that help our economy become more just and accessible to everyone. If Republicans are interested in that, we are there to work with them. If they are going to default to their extremism and their chaos, we are going to stand up to them. I mean, look no farther.
What the fuck is she talking about? Hold on, Nick. You on mute. You on mute.
All right, I say I'm pretty much wrapping that segment because she's boring me, and I think we covered a lot of it. So CJ, you're on mute. Go ahead. You can chime in.
Yeah, I got just a couple of things to just add to this segment. This first thing right here, here goes Lauren Boebert. Let's hear what she's saying about the debacle that's happening, how they describe it. Chaos what they call this democracy. Let's listen.
Kevin McCarthy asked us, what committees do you want to be on? We want to be able to spread your influence and these conservative voices out over all committees. Which committees are you asking for? We presented that list, and then we were told that it was just a wish list, and this was for personal gain and not the country. Well, in the absence of trust, personnel is vital. And so we have to be sure that we have strong conservative voices on these committees to make sure that we do have spending under control when we get that authority back in September, since it was surrendered in the omnibus bill. But Kevin McCarthy is fully aware of what we are asking for, and this is something that needs to be addressed.
Now, if you don't understand the moment, this should be AOC, or should have been AOC. What we want is to bring healthcare to the floor, and with considering that so and so many people would say we would save millions upon millions of dollars, and we will 60,000 people's lives will be saved. And guess what? There was just a study that was out that said if everybody had healthcare, this is an amount of people that lives would have been saved during pandemic. That's what should be happening. That's what should be happening. It's like, what do you want, AOC and squad? Why are you causing all this chaos? And then that's when they go ahead and proceed to talk about all the left stuff that they claim they want to talk about. That's what should be happening here. That's not happening. And it's clear that this is the strategy that the squad should have been using. And that's what we were sold on, is this adversarial that never materialized. Now, Nick and Rome, you were just saying, watch, something's going to happen and somebody's going to drop something from the TYTs, the Sam Cedars. And here's Sam Cedar.
Sam Cedar is on MSNBC. Of course, they're going to give him, you know what I'm saying, his words.
This is today on
this is today's stream, and he brings up the squad. So let's listen to a little bit of it. I just found it, so I haven't listened to all of it, but this is the part.
Let's see ads where he was a superhero because he doesn't have.
Actually, let me rewind it just to give you a little more context here. So what he did here is he's covering the Newt Gingrich video where he's complaining. Newt Gingrich is complaining, and then it goes into Sam. So let's start it right there.
Conservatism undermine the Republican Party and frankly undermine the country.
Well, listen, just in the
this is interesting and it's instructive because I want you to just contemplate what would have happened to the 5 members of the squad back in 2020. You're watching like Fox and Gingrich, hammer these 5 Republicans. And incidentally, there's about 15 behind.
So is he getting to, did you guys want the squad to be hammered like this? Is that what you're getting to?
You can't be serious. You can't be serious, Sam. Yes, we want that fight.
Want to be held accountable.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Sam, you don't want that fight. Sam, like, man, we ain't about that heat, bro. We don't want that. Thank God we got the bullet, bro. We don't want that. Imagine if Newt Gingrich. What if Newt Gingrich go after us? Are you serious, Sam?
They would have been calling us communists and
unbelievable.
So let's listen. Let's see if he completes the thought. Now that's what it sounds like he's going to. Let's see if that's the thought.
Yeah, let's see. Let's be fair. Let's see.
No, fuck that.
What would have happened to the 5 members of the squad back in 2020? You're watching like Fox and Gingrich, hammer these 5 Republicans. And incidentally, there's about 15 behind them that have been.
Video. Is the video pausing up?
God damn, they fucking us up tonight. Everybody want to fuss up today.
Yes, I think the video frozen.
Maybe it glitched. Hang on a second, everybody.
Yeah, I'll read some comments while you do that. Bill Bradley said the liberals love their civility politics. Oh my God, do you guys want the?
We got to get back to it because it is important here. So 1 second here.
Oh my God, dog.
Yeah, I'll just go through some comments while you get the video.
That man, what a pitiful.
All right, there. Okay,
pitiful life. You don't want
the 5.
Okay, so hopefully now it's working. I don't know why it glitched right there, but let's see if it's working now.
Members of the squad back in 2020. You're watching like Fox and Gingrich, hammer these 5 Republicans. And incidentally, there's about 15 behind them that have been pushing this as well. To be clear, these 5 are not alone. They know they're not alone. And again, they have institutional support from like Club for Growth. Those are the ones who got like folks like Toomey elected in Pennsylvania. Here's Dan Crenshaw, another Republican. You'll remember he did those fancy ads where he was a superhero because he doesn't have mental problems. But here, I mean, just get a sense of like what would have happened if there were 5 members of the squad pushing for, and to be clear, they've gotten some reforms in the system that are going to elevate certain people. Not a bad thing to fight for.
Of course, he has to say that, CJ. He's almost like he has to say. I don't know where he's going with this, but you know how he has to always start with a compliment. I don't know if he's about to criticize him or he's about to praise him, but he's like, "Well, no matter what, guys, remember the squad actually accomplished something. Remember, don't ever have a takeaway. That is so. Let's continue the video.
And hold on. I guarantee he's not going to talk about the magnitude of these votes. He's not going to talk about the magnitude and what the Republicans was fighting about, are fighting about, and what the Democrats in the squad could have been fighting about. Because we, like you said, CJ, we not only had, they could have went. They could have said reparations. They would have
They could have said a whole bunch of stuff
on the goddamn street. Everybody. They could have said, housing. Really let's shake up the game. Let's really shake it up. If you're gonna, et cetera, et cetera. But the magnitude of the votes that we had at that time was way, like, dude, people are still dying because of the lack of leadership that happened back then. That happened a couple months ago. And we're still suffering from it. But he's going to come, well, they did get some reform. What reform? What reform, Sam? What passed for the people? What have we gotten? They're cutting wages. Unions busted up. Striking power is taken away from real world. What have we gotten? What have we gotten? We couldn't even get the 10% that Bernie Sanders wanted from the Pentagon budget. And we don't even know what the hell the Pentagon did with the some $1 trillion that they just lost again. What have we got? You bitch ass white boy living in a gentrified neighborhood, talking on shit that he don't even fucking have to, like, fuck this guy, bro. And your beard sucks. Cut that shit.
Let me play for here.
Let's continue.
Here's Dan Crenshaw talking about these 5 Republicans.
So what he wants you to do is to understand, listen. Now, imagine if this was the squad and how they're talking. That's where he's trying to set up. Listen to Dan Crenshaw and imagine if this was the squad that he was talking about.
Handful of members is very clearly looking for notoriety over principle. That's what it is. And anyone who suggests differently is in some kind of make-believe.
So the guy that points out how Dan Crenshaw is crazy and talks about him all the time is now saying we should now listen to Dan Crenshaw, because what if this was the squad? They would be saying this is what he's trying to say, Nick and Rome. He's trying to say everybody, people like Dan Crenshaw, would be saying this is clearly performative. This is clearly because they would get that reaction. Are Sam trying to say they should? This is the good thing that why they never did this? Because people like Dan Crenshaw. This is what Sam is trying to sell us, man. It's ridiculous.
Fantasy reality. It's not true. They lost those debates. That should have been the end of it, because that's how a team works, right? You hash this stuff out, figure it out, and then you move on. But if you're a narcissist and you believe that your opinion is so much more important than everyone else's, then you'll keep going. And you
Oh my God! What a bootlicking little punk!
Tear down the team for the benefit of the Democrats.
I
Because of your.
I need people. I'm going to pass to you right now, Nick. But I need us to understand what Sam just set up here. Sam is trying to say,
yeah, CJ.
The squad would have been accused of these things, and he's using Dan Crenshaw. It's so amazing how you talk about Dan Crenshaw, Sam, as if he's crazy, but now you want to use him as an example now to prove some sort of point you have that the squad should have never done this. It's pretty despicable. Go ahead, Nick or Rome, whoever.
That's such a great point. That's such a great point, CJ, and that's. I Pax McCain. How I roasted this guy so many times. He pretends to be edgy and anti-establishment. He pretend he like Metal Gear Snake or some shit like that. But he actually, his voting record is literally the same as like John McCain. Would it be? He all for the Ukraine war. He's such a little establishment, little weasel. But he started off. I remember he was on the Joe Rogan podcast before. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm the new light Republican. I'm the Republican that can connect with the youth, you know." But now he's a little bootlicking punk. Falling in line with Kevin McCarthy, saying that people that challenge power, not saying that Matt Gaetz and them are, but the message that he's getting out: if you don't fall in line, you're a narcissist. Oh, I guess he been called out so many times by being an establishment shield. His image has been ruined now, so I guess he's all in on just being the next Mitch McConnell, because that's what he is. He's still young. He propped up by the establishment. He got a lot of money on his reelection. Like he like literally the next level Mitch McConnell. So he's gonna have the name Pax McCain. They're gonna stick on him forever because that's literally what he just.
Somebody said that bitch fake.
But what do you think though about what Sam is trying to do here?
I think this nigga
Sam is trying to build a shield, a force field for the squad, and saying, "Look what would have happened to the squad." Go ahead.
That proves that they don't be doing this stuff on accident. They're not winging it, bro. Like when he go on MSNBC and Russiagate instead of literally talking about anything else. These are things they are planned. They are part of the club for a reason. Right? There's a reason why these people are popped up by the algorithm, why RBN is suppressed to death. And this is kind of stuff they're showing in the Twitter files, right? They literally follow their role in the duopoly. So they found their niche. They're not the open neoliberal Joe Manchin supporting like what the like Obama speechwriters, that big podcast. They're not like an open neoliberal.
Oh
like
yeah, I know who you.
I don't know why I'm blanking on their name, but it's irrelevant.
But Pod Save America or something.
They're not Podcast Save America, but their job is to be the youth wing, the DSA wing of the Democratic Party, but they still maintain the media talking points that they are approved of by the Democratic Party and the media heads. That's why they say this. That's why I literally made a prediction. He's doing it. I literally predicted before
the chaos. And
yeah, and he's mad, and he's saying that the squad being called out by these idiots. Like, we should want a fight with Pax McCain any day. DJ, my last thought. This goes back. Remember when I had multiple rants on how I called the AOC left and the NATO left cowards because they didn't want to debate Marjorie Taylor Greene? This goes back to that. They don't want to be opposition. They don't want the smoke. They want to be part of the club. Because they don't want to raise a ruckus. They are literally fucking scared to debate and have that. I would love this shit.
On Facebook,
go after us for Nancy Pelosi. Like, nigga, you about to die on the hill of Nancy Pelosi? Nigga, I can go all day. Are you serious? They scared. They're scared of that fight.
Yep.
Go ahead, Ron.
On face value, all of them, vote for the same shit. They all go for the same shit. So what can they actually debate about besides their political, their little identity politic wars inside of their parties against their parties and whatnot? Like, none of that shit is really gonna matter. And I wanted to bring up to Sam, Ginger Fire Cedar. You know what would have happened if AOC and the squad would have just got rowdy and said, "Fuck this shit. We're going for it all. Fuck her old ass. We're going for it all." It would have got so many young people out here, so many people that didn't pay attention to politics. It would have got people on the ground, building organizations, getting ready for to protect them and keep that word going. It would have had a great domino effect, because when we're talking about stuff that's going to happen for the proletariat, When we talk about stuff that's going to happen for the poor, when we talk about housing, if you guys would have at least went against private prisons or something, hell yeah, we could have got a lot of people on the ground. That would have been the outcome of it. Who gives a fuck about what Republicans got to say? Majority of the country don't give a fuck what Republicans or Democrats have to say. If it don't have anything to do with them, if it don't have anything to do with the neighborhood, bettering them, they too busy working, they too busy consuming. They don't give a fuck. They're not voting. But you would have had a whole bunch of more people ready to vote, ready to join the Democratic Party, ready to back the progressive wing. But what have you got it? Nothing. And now you're about to get a lock on that progressive door. With
Jeffries. All right, so let's let this finish out. It's like 45 more seconds of Sam. Let's hear him bring it back together about the squad.
I mean, so you're getting a sense of the intense anger that's going on there against these Republicans. And I just, for a moment, contemplate that what they wanted, and there is no analog really to the idea of the force the vote that people have been harping about for honestly for 2 years now, relentlessly.
What are you talking about? We're podcast. Just watch the video, bro, because this gentrifying ass motherfucker get on my nerve. Motherfuckers is dying, nigga, from COVID-19 a year later. What was it? What was it that we really needed, Sam? Think about it. What was the whole pinnacle of it, of a force to vote? Think. I know it's hard for you, man. Think for once. Think for yourself. Don't tell us what the media is spitting through your earpiece, motherfucker. What was the whole point of force to vote? You gentrifying ass, lying ass motherfuckers gonna learn, bro. Y'all's not about to sit here and keep spitting this shit like, man, see, I'm already going through detox. I need a cigarette because of these motherfuckers. Y'all ain't about to torture me with this nigga, dog. But he need to shut the fuck up. If he gonna come with all the, if he gonna come with all the facts, don't come with half truths and it really wasn't anything that these people wanted for us to vote. What, nigga? What? We could have went all out. We wanted everything. We wanted housing. We wanted everything. Damn right. We could have forced a vote on anything. Anything. And Nancy Pelosi is so hungry for power, she probably would have cowered out and gave us a little something. Would have slapped us on the wrist with a little bit, at least a rise on healthcare or minimum wage or something you guys could have fought for. Something. I know it's something out there, like the millions of people that's going to go homeless in America.
And people like Sam Cedar want you to hate your neighbor, but 400,000 lives would have been saved if we had Medicare for all.
Only hate your neighbor if they a gentrifying ass, cracker ass motherfucker like that. That's the only time you hate your neighbor, when they moving in and moving you out. Like this motherfucker. I'm tired of you.
So before we guessed it. We were like, no, he's not going down that path and trying to act like to present that you're trying to act like in hindsight, we did the right thing by not forcing the vote, because look at the heat that the squad, why is that your fucking concern? Why is that something that is on your mind? Why is that a thing? And let's listen to him explain himself a little more.
That many people.
And that was a strategy of having the members of the squad leverage their vote against Nancy Pelosi for a vote that everyone knew would fail on Medicare for all.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Fail on the House floor about 300 to 100, roughly speaking. It could be closer to like 310 to 125 or 35, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. And the idea that
just to say, like the ones that did vote for it.
I'm sorry. Can we pull up Ilhan Omar tweet again?
Where it actually wasn't.
All you got is
Ilhan already proved him wrong. I mean, the person that he's tap dancing for already proved him wrong. All they need is about five people, right? They had 7. They had them
you
at
talking
7, 8
about the
people.
Ilhan Omar tweet. You talking about the Ilhan Omar tweet where she had said it herself.
Like,
I
and
just
the thing
can't
was,
believe he's doing
we
this,
know.
Rome. I can't believe. I know for you, I can't believe that they're dying on this hill, that they're choosing to die with these people. I cannot believe that he is literally trying to act like at all. Because what I see what's happening, Republicans, what are we saying on here? We're saying this clearly should have been the thing that they did. Like what we see, we're saying this clearly should have been the thing. What he's seeing is saying this clearly should have been not the thing they did.
Unbelievable.
You see? Like it is so amazing. Let me see if he says anything else, and then we can stop this because I didn't know he went this long.
Just a little bit more. I need to recap and then rethink.
Yeah, I didn't know that he went this crazy because I only watched like 30 seconds of it because this literally just this is a live he just did today.
It's insane.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Is them going on record for something they know is not going to happen. And then presumably, I'm not sure what happened after.
I'm sorry. One more thing. We know. We can look at the votes. The first vote AOC did was what? Funded ICE. Jamal Bowman, Nancy Pelosi. We know. We know it wasn't going to pass, but we wanted those votes. All you 181 co-sponsors that all you leftists was cheering about and throwing up in our faces. We have 100 and some co-sponsors from rhinos and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's put a test to it. Because all of us need healthcare. Like I said, they run to the left but govern to the right. So now they like, damn, we're actually gonna have to work. You know how much legislation that is. You know how many corporations and big pharma and how many people that we're gonna actually fight. These people was out of their fucking mind, man. Don't fall for this shit, bro. These people, and they way too comfortable to even be talking on these subjects. You know, because if I get too rich, y'all ain't even gonna see me no more. I'm fuck this shit. Why
But to your point on this, because he is getting comfortable in the way that he's talking about this, as if he's made a point. This is so bizarre. Let's see what he says here.
After that, the public would rise up and say, "How could you vote against this?" But look at the way that this is being covered, even on the right. And Republicans never get this type of negative coverage. You never hear Republicans in disarray. It is just reflexive of our media to do that with Democrats. Because largely Democrats are more in disarray. They are a more heterogeneous party, just definitionally. They're made up of different socioeconomic classes, of different races, of different of education backgrounds. The Republican Party is 90% white, and in the upper half of the income distribution, and largely aligned. I don't know what the analogy would be between, sort of like voting for Medicare for all, which,
first of all, man, this motherfucker
least
the Democratic Party has
broadly
money,
at least in concept.
Members in the Democratic Party has more money than the members of the Republican Party. That's just easy Google. Said Nancy Pelosi hold more than half of their fucking wealth herself. What are you talking about? And yes, they might have some black motherfuckers tap dancing for you, but they all answer to the same white motherfuckers. They all answer to the same man. What you talking about? You act like these people just got freedom in their own parties when they can't even vote without crying against the Iron Dome.
Dude, Sam Cedar is literally the same as Ryan Grimm. They cut from the same cloth. The same rage that you had on Ryan Grimm.
Yeah, he is.
It's the rage that he's building up inside me right now. This is literally unhinged propaganda. This is Morning Joe level. This is Joe Scarborough.
That's what he's going for.
One more.
As his audience get older, hopefully he still have. Hopefully he well, not hopefully. Hopefully he don't. But maybe as his audience grow older, they're going to go to the right. They have nowhere else to go. Look what he's doing to these people. You know what I'm saying? He's not creating a fork in the road for the left and the right. He's just blocking it off and telling these people, stay right, stay right. Don't even look left. Don't even try to force your politicians. Don't hold nobody accountable. We shouldn't be mean to these politicians. Don't look over there. Just keep going. Everything will be all right. This is what they're doing. So as they grow older, shit, he gonna have a spot on MSNBC, a regular spot this time, and nobody's gonna bat an eye about it because they grew up on this bullshit.
Are in favor of. How intensely
CJ, did you pause, nigga?
Yeah, I don't know if CJ glitched or I think he's coming back.
There you go. I'm like, damn, he trying to do a staring eye contest? God damn.
Yeah, CJ. The video is frozen.
Yeah, I know. I can hear it in my ear. One second. I hear. There we go. Okay, so take this one out. Take this one out. Yeah,
they got all the
this guy is saying some crazy stuff. I'm hearing what he's saying. I want you to hear what he's saying.
They pull all the excuses out of their asses.
Nancy Pelosi far more beloved amongst Democrats than Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, jeez. What?
This is why I was saying he's saying some crazy stuff in my ear because the video kept playing, even though it went off on your screen. This is crazy what he's saying.
I'm in
Just 20
shambles
seconds
right now,
back.
man. I'm in
Just 20
shambles.
seconds
This is unbelievable.
He's saying some crazy stuff here.
They're in favor of. If they were more in favor of it, we may have seen Bernie Sanders been president, or at least win the Democratic nomination.
Who fought us that?
Nancy Pelosi far more beloved amongst Democrats than Kevin McCarthy. And
then McCarthy is among Republicans.
Then McCarthy is among Republicans, without a doubt. And those
we can stop it here because what he's saying here, he's saying is Nancy Pelosi is way more beloved. So you see the reaction they're getting. I don't understand. So how do black people ever get anything? Martin Luther King had a 75% negative rating from white people, like 75%, because based on Sam's ideology, we're not supposed to do anything that's unpopular. Nothing. So what do we get? Slavery was so that would never have went away. Interracial marriage, because that also had a bad negative rating. Like the idea, the ideology that he's saying is so bizarre. Go ahead, Romer, Nick.
No, I'm just saying, like we didn't even as people get a chance to even vote on gay marriage. They just like, oh, here or something. Then they're gonna use.
We come on. We can't let them get away with the lie that I'm not letting them go because that's a lie. For one, Nancy Pelosi is one of the most hated politicians in America. Now listen to what he said as well. And he said, well, Kevin McCarthy is more hated among the Republican Party than Nancy Pelosi is among the Democratic Party. Hey, you moron! Think about why is that? Why is that? There are 100 members of the Progressive Caucus. Nancy Pelosi is widely hated by the American people. She floats around a minus 15 to minus 23 on her approval rating. So Nancy Pelosi being popular in her party is only possible because of the Progressive Caucus and AOC and the Squad. Right. If AOC and the Squad challenged Pelosi, then she would be as hated as Kevin McCarthy. So your thesis is only possible because the Squad is irrelevant. These people have no critical thinking skills. They just go on the mic, well paid and fat, and they just say stupid shit.
Because you know why? Because white men can go in front of mics and say shit without any pushback or evidence, and you just go, oh, okay. And that's the benefit he's getting, because literally, how many seconds did it take us to just tread what he's saying? It literally took us seconds. And Nick, and Rome, I had to stop. I had to stop because I rage quit. He keeps going. He keeps going and says more. I just rage quit. You want to hear some more crazy shit? Later. He just says crazy. Look at this.
5 who were holdouts.
Listen to this part, and then I'll stop it.
Would have been eviscerated. We would never hear of those people. They would
have been eviscerated. It's all in protection. It's all in protection. Just like you said, Ryan Grimm. Their whole business model, their whole political model is protection of these people. Everything else comes after that. It's protection. That's his whole thing. Listen to what Dan Crenshaw is going to say. Now, picture this. Nancy Pelosi is way more beloved. So they would have got even more heat. That is his whole premise here. It's crazy.
Sam, do you benefit off of these people or something? Like, are they giving you some type of money, some type of special? I know you get access to them. I know that's one of the reasons, but it got to be a deeper reason why you are stepping up the bet for these people like this. You have to be benefiting. You have to be benefiting,
some kind of way.
Oh shit!
I think we can close it here. If you want to read super chat,
I just read this last super chat. Thank you for the 199, Robbie. She's popular because she raises a lot of money. Well said. I won't pull out this $5 from JX. Just wanted to point out that Cedar kept saying the squad had 5 votes, but they had 7 if we count Jayapal. His job is to spread misinformation. The largest advocates and spreaders of misinformation are two-party duopoly defenders and imperialists. Are we clear on that? That's Sam Cedar. His job is to misinform his audience. All you have to do to make it is you just be a white guy, sound confident on camera, and just say establish some talking points. You can make it. We got to do research. We got to make sure we're correct on things we said. And we talk about this all the time. The level, the bar that we have on RBN. If we get anything wrong, we get scrutiny. Meanwhile, these average motherfuckers like Sam Cedar and Voss can go on and just say whatever. Can just say bullshit that's not true.
And not only that,
legitimate.
They get the benefit of upholding white supremacy without actually saying it. Like these people, you can't tell me that, that you agree with anything that the U.S. military is doing and you're a leftist or whatever the fuck. Like, no. You guys are upholding white supremacy. You just don't want to say it out loud because this lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? America, the U.S., they're giving you everything that you want. You don't want to change that. Y'all don't want black liberation because only thing that y'all know about black liberation, knowing that y'all don't have any black friends, knowing that y'all never actually listen to your black teachers, you think black liberation is what your granddaddy taught you it was white man hate, was us going out to go hunt and kill y'all asses. I
gotta get to some super chats. I gotta go here soon. Thank you for the $2, Nima. They lied about the Ronavax. You are trying to get some trouble. Thank you for $5, Arthur. One day y'all need to do a Rockfin exclusive live and just let loose. One of these days. That's why it's fun to do whenever I go on Jimmy, because he's a big channel and he has like people he work with on YouTube. He doesn't get like immediately suspended. Like if you're a channel our size, they will immediately suspend me if I said some shit about COVID. But on Jimmy, it's fun. I'll go on Jimmy Show. I can say whatever the fuck I want. That's why we did a segment on COVID last time. Like, I actually can finally talk some shit here. Because on this channel, shit not worth it. Because they will fuck us up real quick. If they turn our shit off, there's no one we can contact. CJ, we went through a whole battle just to get monetized. We had no one to call. We got to go through an automated system. Shit took months just to get monetized.
Literally months.
So they decided just to pull us because they hear us say some shit that not even misinformation. Like if we did what Harlan Media did. They pulled Harlan's one time because they showed a video clip of a right winger saying the election was rigged, and then they say he said it. So he didn't even say, he played a clip of a right winger said it. Then they took the channel down from disinformation. So on RBN, it's like, bro, we gotta be super.
That's just what happens when you got.
Well, on Jimmy, on Jimmy Show, I'm like, all right, I can talk shit now. So it's always fun. But go ahead, Ron.
That's what happens when technology and tech is built and ran under capitalism. You don't actually have somebody right there with a job to actually, like, we can just pay somebody to sit here and really, you want to watch a motherfucker, at least pay somebody to watch me. You know what I'm saying? Am I actually threatening people? Am I spreading misinformation, or is it just a robot picking up on certain keywords? You know, and that's just the laziness of capitalism. Yeah. They don't go all the way.
Yeah, I know Savvy is about to be loud. So we got 2 more super chats. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to skip that one. We got 2 more. I think for $5. Nancy Pelosi always won while selling out to the big donors and strong arming genuine progressives, and that's who they love. And apparently, Sam Cedar has no urgency to get rid of her. He's cool. Yeah, let her retire.
He's gonna be all right.
No one gives. They don't give a shit. So let me read.
His house is where all those black people used to be. So he good. You know, he got the nice house now in that gentrified area, trying to talk to poor people about what we need. That's Sam's job.
Yeah, thank you for a $5, Justin. We need 5 Green Party reps in Congress. The Fraud Squad will never be opposition. And he also have another one he sent. I mean, 200 greens will be better, but 20 or 5 will make a big difference. And that's what we like. We just had the people that can be a cog, and we want the fun. We want the smoke. Sam and them, they don't want to smoke. We want third party that will be there to shut shit down in order to fight for the proletariat. But the professional managerial class, as we've seen, that's an unbelievable clip of Sam. Literally, expectations. That's a past my worst. I could not believe that. But anyway, I know Samuel. I literally got to dip out, but I passed it to TJ in Rome for anything.
Like I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One announcement for me. Thursday we're gonna have Fiorella Isabel and friend of the show, Comrade Misty. That's for Thursday. So, and I'm working on Glenn for either sometime this week or next week to talk about Brazil as well. So we got a lot of great content coming up. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. See you guys soon. Bye. Peace out, guys.
You got anything, Rome, before we play this video? Go ahead, Rome. Your closing words?
I just want to say, threaten everything that's in power. Threaten everybody that's in power, because it's either, look, you guys have tried to get a third party. If y'all don't see this shit working in the next 5-some years, on the side, build something, build another organization that's ready for revolution. Because you guys want to go in, if you want to jump in the water with the sharks, with the man-eating sharks. These ain't the nice sharks. They man-eating sharks or crocodiles. You want to jump in the swamp with the crocodiles and the alligators, then more likely you're going to get bit. You're going to get ate up, or you're going to learn their instincts and turn into one of them. So it is what it is. Or we can just start off anew. Start off new. And I'm pretty sure there's more. There's going to be a lot of help. If the people rise up against the government, there's going to be a lot of help. You know what I'm saying? From institutions, not only in America, but from other countries that's ready to see the downfall of America, that's going to make sure that our goal is accomplished, you know, and we got to make sure that they don't have any other goals to overthrow us if that day should come. But we got to get ready for revolution, because all this playing back and forth, cat and mouse with Republicans, Democrats, y'all wasting your time, you're wasting your life, you're wasting everybody else's life. You're going to die trying to do this strategy. And if you do, I'm going to laugh at you. We're going to be old as fuck. I'm still going to laugh, because I'm like, yeah, it still don't work. You've been voting Democrat your whole life. And it took for me to say that to get people in my family that's been voting Democrats 40 years just to stop. We got evicted out of every house we lived in. What the fuck are y'all doing? Stop it. Get ready.
Get ready, and here is Vivek and Michael Brooks talking about the problem with the United States left being overwhelmingly middle class.
Now, the liberalism that you talk about, Michael, when you say there's a lot of liberalism within the left today, I would not call it that. So the identitarian stuff that you talk about, the narrowness, that is not an ideological hangover of liberalism. That is a very, very active set of people pushing their material interests. Right. The left in the United States is fundamentally and overwhelmingly a middle-class formation. It is not it's the first left globally, historically, that has no connection to the working class, to the poor at all. People complain that the left is white. Bullshit. That's a second. The left has those non-whites who are in the American left are all middle class too. It's disproportionately white, but it's all middle class, regardless of its color. In that setting, when you're only bringing in middle class people into your organization, a big chunk of them are going to say, we don't want to hear about poverty. We don't want to hear about the economy. What we want to know is, when we walk into a room, why are we not treated well? When we apply for the salaried positions at 6 figures that we think we have a right to, why do we get 5% less than the other guys. That's what the middle class on the left wants to hear about. It will dress it up in all sorts of historically powerful language and all that. But Adolf Reed has been saying this for a while, and it's only because he's in America that people think this is controversial. In the rest of the world, what Adolf says is just common sense, which is this is a form of nationalist politics. And all nationalist politics has one or the other class character. Either it's a nationalism that's wrapped around the needs of the poor, or it's a nationalism that's wrapped around the needs of the aspiring, emerging elite within the dominated groups. Identity politics is the class instinct of Black, brown, and Asian, yellow, whatever you want to call them, people, and the women. It's not an ideological hangover. It is a very committed and clear set of material interests. And as long as the left remains in the middle class, it will never get out of it.